Oh my goodness, face front true believers. Welcome to issue 138 of the Pitch Nerds. We are the try to be weekly show where a couple nerds assemble to bring you the latest in nerdy news, reviews, and do audio checks while while another one of us rambles. I'm Cap. Joining us today, as always, best friend, fellow nerd, and human who has adopted a curious orange, Mr. Frosty. The lighting looks,
Orange.
yeah. No,
Oh,
it's just the
yeah.
lighting. It's the lighting.
Yeah.
What are you running
I
for?
could turn it off, but I wonder how.
No, I was going to say this will help the demographics because
Oh,
painting your face orange now is supposed to
you
attract.
want me to look like Trump?
Hey,
Also,
Biden did
weirdly,
it. Biden did
is
it.
starting to look
Right.
starting to look like that.
I'm saying, adopt the style, man. You know what they
Uh,
say? Once you go orange, that's
don't go door hinge.
yeah.
That's the only thing I know that rhymes with orange.
Anyways, my goodness, what do we have going on today? We missed last week, but we do have a season finale of The Boys to talk about. We have My Adventures of Superman finale. I saw Deadpool. No spoilers. It was a fun movie, not a perfect movie, but a fun movie. I just finished watching Blade Runner 2049. I started that movie criminally too early in the morning. Certain movies you just can't watch at a certain time unless you're like I saw the runtime, like, oh my god, 2 hours and 49 minutes, but
I love it.
no,
I was so happy to revisit that
so
film.
I
You know what I found out afterwards though? There was an animated film. I didn't know these existed.
I
There's an
heard about
animated film.
something animated.
Yeah, that bridges it, but there's also two short films that have like Leto and Baptista.
Yeah,
Blade Runner 2038 and Blade Runner 39 and 48 or something like that. Or maybe it's 36 and 48, something like that.
right,
But they're short films directed by the same guy.
right.
And I saw a joke someone said is like, wait, this is distributed by Sony? They can put Jared Leto in something that's not shit?
Right.
Like,
So I didn't really. It took me seconds. Like, is that Jared Leto? You know, just
Yeah,
shut
no.
up. Just let him work. Let him work. Yeah, I thought he was great in that movie.
I don't dislike Jared Leto. I just think that like the movies that he's been in of recent weren't that ideal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Plus many
Just posting our live link.
more. We have Battle Nerds, where Superman is going to throw Pikachu into the sun. I have a small, non-offensive rant towards anybody in particular. I just have a rant that's long overdue.
I'm sure everyone.
When I say long overdue, Frosty, I mean this is long overdue. I've been biting my tongue for so long. It's palpable. It's
Yeah,
just
okay.
squealing in my head.
Sure. Like I said, I'm sure everybody loves it. I seem to be in the minority on all that kind of stuff, so whatever.
You don't even know what I'm going to be talking about. My goodness gracious.
All right. I'll sit here quietly and then form an opinion. I disagree with Cap here. I lived with Cap. Cap's pretty much my brother. I mean, like, I spend more time talking to this man than any other human on the planet. So I mean, yeah, okay, but all right, yeah.
Just,
Like I
just,
said,
just
I'll
let me have my layered Cartman moment. Damn it!
sure.
Just there's a heartwarming message behind all of it. I promise you. It's just layered and layered and layered. Because remember, it's like poetry.
Yeah.
Yep. So, anyways, we have some nerdy news to dive in. We were running a few minutes late, so might as well.
Yeah, we got so much stuff. I'm just
Holy-
posting our live link.
So,
Well, the first one that we can discuss while I'm posting our link is obviously the big news. Robert Downey Jr. is going to be playing Doctor Doom because Kang, they pulled a, what do you call it?
a Poochie.
They were like, Kang died on the way to his planet. Yay! Like,
You know, though, so if you think about it, it was a smart move because how would you can't really recast that, I guess, because they made such a big deal out of Kang.
I mean,
So-
you could. I mean,
But it was with, I mean, what's his face? Jonathan Majors was on like Time Magazine, or not in Time Magazine, but like Entertainment Weekly and all these different things, like the new villain, the new face of the MCU. So to have that now replaced by somebody else who's just it seems yucky.
No, I know. I just feel
murky.
like I guess from that point of view, yeah, but it's I wouldn't have a problem if they were just like if they pulled a roadie. You know what I mean? They're like, look, it's roadie.
But see,
you know,
this
they
is
did it in so much stuff. Like go back to like what is it, like the 50s or 60s or whatever, when it was like all of a sudden the guy that was the husband in Bewitched, they're like, it's a new guy in Bewitched, and everyone just went, okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
but see,
you know,
that's Bewitched. This is a multi-billion-dollar like movie franchise that it was.
it's the largest. It's official. I have it as a later piece of news, but
Yes,
just on that,
yeah,
it's the first franchise to ever cross the 30
billion.
billion. Yeah,
34 billion is what they made.
Well, I just saw it cross 30 billion. I mean, nothing's.
So it's either Feige said it's either 32 or 34 billion.
I mean, that's probably close to the exact
that is
nothing's past 30.
Yeah, that's insane if you think about it. So
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's definitely.
Now, here's a question: is it going to be like an evil version of Tony Stark, or is he going to be playing Doom? Because comics better than
I think that they'll probably they can do a lot of things. There's a comic book that Doom was Tony Stark,
right?
And it's a what if comic, basically. In it, remember Doom went to school with Reed, dorm room. So it's that, but instead of being in a dorm with Reed, he was in a dorm with Stark.
Right.
And he hated Stark because Stark would come back with like ladies and be like, "What's up, ladies?" And he'd be like, "No, you need to focus on school." But like he was annoyed because like Stark is like pointing out on a board. He's like, "No, you need to like do other stuff. If you focus like this, you're going to be wrong. Look, this should have been cubed," and he's like fixing his equations.
Right.
And
that's an interesting. That's a cool way to like business and pleasure. You got to mix the two in order for the two to really work.
Yeah. So
it's an interesting dichotomy between that. Interesting. So, on that note, I listened to John Campion. He had actually floated this idea about a week and a half ago. I was watching where there was murmur of Robert Downey Jr. possibly coming back as a version of Doom, and whether or not he'd actually play Doom or just an evil version of.
Well, so in the comic, what happens is he swaps bodies with Stark, and then like the campus police busted, and like and then he's in Stark's body, and he's like, "Oh, he tried to trick me with his machine," and then so they take away Stark, and of course, like Doom,
right.
they drag him away, but it's really Stark,
right?
And then because Doom is now in Stark's body, he's rich, so they're like, "You're great," and like and so then we see their lives diverge, and Doom ends up being this like. He takes over Stark, he kills his dad, and then he's doing basically all this evil shit. And then Iron Man, like how like when you push like Stark like in the corner, like hey, we're gonna put you in a mountain and you're fucked.
Right.
And then he builds the Iron Man armor.
Yeah.
He basically builds an Iron Man armor.
Right.
But he ends up becoming like a philanthropist. He ends up becoming like wealthy. He invents patents. He ends up safety things and then he didn't realize because his mind was wiped. He always thought he just was Victor Von Doom, and but then he ends up building an Iron Man suit, and he takes on Doctor Doom. So that's one possibility. I just figure you do that in an alternate dimension or something. Have like Doom. I'm guessing because they're doing Secret Wars after.
Yeah, so they're gonna be doing Battle World, right? With
probably that's my guess. So it's just gonna be like that. So imagine alternate universe. Stark either evil or swapped or whatever. Yeah. And then and then he ends up because it's the multiverse, he ends up like pulling a Secret Wars and ends up taking over and everything. So yeah, I think it could be like something like that. So
we're going to see the Thor core then?
I mean, maybe. Yeah. I didn't really like the Thor core, like, if I'm honest. Because like it was again, it's one of those things where they didn't really know how to write Thor because he's too powerful. I mean, in that context, he really doesn't even need to be that powerful because you got such other powerful players. But like, I don't know. I've said this before. I like miss like when Thor like lost his mind and he just started going across the cosmos, beating the crap out of everybody, and it was like Thanos, Adam Warlock, freaking Silver Surfer, and they're all like trying to hold him down. He's like, ah! And like they couldn't hold him down.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like when Thor loses it, that's when shit gets scary.
Right.
And they seem to have forgotten that in the modern era of comics, just how powerful Thor is.
Right.
Sometimes some writers write him correctly, but I think writing power. It's like Superman. Like for some reason, Superman writers are like they're okay writing powerful, but even he like. You're reading like Infinite Frontier Superman. You're like, if he's this powerful, why is he struggling on Battle World or whatever it's called, or War World?
Right.
He's like he's so powerful that like you could just be like, you don't exist anymore, and he's like, boop, I still do, and like,
he has Scooby Doo power, Courage the Cowardly Dog power. Just
he's basically he's elevated a concept, so he's the infinite hope on which the DC universe rests. So things like weight, space, time, distance, none of those matter anymore.
Right.
He can do whatever he wants, like go where he wants, be what he wants. Like, and when he gets teleported like 200 trillion light years away by Lex Luthor, and he's like, "Phew, now I don't have to." And he's like, "Back," and he's like, "Damn it." So yeah, they made him super powerful.
Yeah. I'm excited to like the reveal. Holy shit! Like. The guy just won an Oscar, bro. Like, Homeboy can act, and if there's one human that could course correct through the final phase and before the MCU becomes more of like a X-Men centric, because I think they're going to sort of go in that direction and focus on the X-Men side, which I think would be cool. I think so. I mean, have other things going on, but if I mean, we're sort of going off topic, but on the MCU panel itself, they've already mentioned adamantium in the
yeah, that's because in what do you call it, that's going to be the that celestial in the ocean, like
Tiamat.
They're saying that's made of adamantium.
Okay.
So like all the governments are like kind of like Wakanda with vibranium. They're like, we want it.
Right.
And I think that's going to be a Thunderbolts thing.
Okay.
So I mean, adamantium, has it been introduced in the? I guess it hasn't, has it?
I don't think it has.
MCU proper.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think adamantium X-Men, but I do think we're going to get the X-Men.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's going to be centric to them. I don't really know if it needs course correcting. I thought that was the whole point of Deadpool is like, is I didn't see it though, so I mean, I guess we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's all correct. Sorry. Okay, I just got that sent out. Okay, so what else do we got? So yeah, RDJ is going to be Dr.
Dude,
Doom.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited.
Yeah, I like it, but the internet's like, I think that guy Comics Explained posted something, and it was like a picture of like the internet today, and it was like, and it showed like the the cartoon faces, and it's like Robert Downey Jr. is going to be Iron Man, and it's like whoa, and then like the next scene is just staring, and then the next scene's like angry, and like. Like, and I'm kind of like, yeah, that sounds about it.
When did the world become mad at Robert Downey Jr.? Why?
It's not they're mad at Robert Downey Jr. It's just it's not Doom in their eyes. Everything has to be exactly as it's supposed to be in the comics, and otherwise people get mad. But if it is too close to the comics, then people get mad. Everybody's mad at everything. The whole world has gone to shit. And I get so frustrated by it all. I just wish we could all be like happy.
Right.
I mean, the whole point of all this stuff is it's supposed to be fun. That's what I think, anyway. I mean, like, I miss back when we first started the show, and me and you were, like, super excited about each episode of WandaVision. We were coming up with theories, and it was so much fun. And now it's just, like, it seems like shows like The Quartering is just the default, and I hate that stuff. Like, I just wish it didn't exist.
Yeah.
I don't understand the point of it. I don't understand the appeal. Why do I want to get angry at everything?
Right.
But I guess some people do. I mean, that's where they get joy. Also in the news, Fantastic Four will not be an origin story.
Yeah. So apparently they showed like 10 minutes of this footage?
Yeah, I have like all of the things we can discuss in a minute, but let's just start this thing off. Completely new foot. So we are beginning just after they get their powers.
Okay.
So that's basically where it's starting.
Okay.
I'll just quickly read through this other one. So the next two Avengers movies are going to be Doomsday and Avengers
Wars.
Doomsday, which is going to be Doctor Doom.
Right.
And then Avengers Secret Wars.
Right.
And that's going to be May of 2026 and May of 2027. The other thing that's going to happen is they're putting the Russo brothers. They're set to direct them, which that makes total sense to me. I mean, they've knocked it out of the park before.
They've done it before. Let them do it again.
But yeah, I do have specific things that we can discuss. I have like the breakdown of San Diego Comic-Con, because that's obviously the big thing going on. So big Phase 5 update. So Captain America, Brave New World, new plot details. Esposito's character is the leader of the Serpent Society. He's going to be Sidewinder.
Yeah.
They revealed adamantium, which is responsible for Wolverine, obviously. It's considered just as powerful as vibranium. And at the start of Brave New World, all countries all over the world are fighting for the adamantium resource. President Ross's goal is to share the wealth with the world. To do that, he has Sam. Well, that's just what he's saying.
Yep.
But to do that, he has Sam Wilson to rebuild the Avengers with him. And then there was some footage about it. Said following the announcement. So we see a scene where Thaddeus Ross is directly talking about how the Celestial came to Earth at the end of the Eternals, or came out of the Earth. Sorry, and that's the production of the adamantium. Sam Wilson is shown with walking in the Falcon suits as they're flying together. The footage ends with President Ross becoming Red Hulk on the podium in front of the White House. Apparently his face looks just like Ford's, only with yellow eyes and black hair.
Of course.
So I just imagining like one of our two enfeebled candidates, like so then there's a battery and a shark, like Biden, like one of those. So obviously Biden's no longer in the room.
You know what was great was
because Harrison Ford.
Did you see Harrison Ford come out and do the in front of the crowd?
No, I didn't.
Oh, so if you watch the panel or the show, Harrison Ford, they bring him up. Of course, they bring him up last when they're talking about the thing, because it's Harrison fucking Ford, and this guy just because you know how stoic he is and how just at surface glance he seems really intimidating, but inside he's probably just giggity because he knows he just has that resting scary face and he just knows how to weaponize it. He comes out and he starts doing the like getting all into it, and he was super excited. But then he's in this moment, and then he just switches to that Harrison Ford. Oh, yeah, I'm a president who just it's funny to watch him sort of switch back and forth between that. But I'm excited to see the thought of him wearing mocap pajamas just amuses me.
Well, so then there was some footage about Thunderbolt specifically. I mean, it didn't seem like anything especially. It says a dramatic version of the Pixie song, "Where Is My Mind," begins to play. As the Thunderbolts each individually assigned the same assignment and end up fighting each other. A character named Bob, shown in a hospital gown, is introduced before the footage ends. So Bob obviously being Sentry. Fantastic Four: First Steps. The plot. So it says the film will not be known just in 1960 setting and aesthetic, but a futuristic version of the time period.
Yeah. So I'm picturing sort of like Jetsons theme when I heard that.
Yeah, I saw the Fantastic Car. Like I thought, like that it definitely feels Fantastic Four.
Right.
It's going to be filmed in a 4:3 aspect ratio, so it looks like it's playing on a retro television. It starts with Richards teaching a classroom, asking if they want to see an explosion. The Thing is seen on a retro dating show, The Dating Game. but only as a silhouette. The footage ends with the team in astronaut suits, with the last names of the characters on the suits as they enter a retro futuristic-looking rocket before the ship takes off, and the aspect ratio of the footage changes. The footage ends with Galactus' face behind buildings. Part of his face is seen through the buildings, and it's clear he has a comic-accurate look.
Hell yeah.
So that sounds all good.
So did you see the drone show over Comic-Con that they did?
No.
So
I didn't see any of this. I went to sleep, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, yay!
So look it up when we're done. As Feige was speaking, they had the largest drone show on Earth. There's like the largest drone show that's ever been done, and it's Galactus's head appearing over the convention center.
That sounds cool.
It's so cool.
I do think, like, I did see, like, for fireworks display, they're incorporating, like, drones, and they made like a Chinese dragon up in the sky and stuff flying around.
Yeah.
And I think that's dope that you can now do that. I think that's better than fireworks, honestly.
Yeah. So Disney's been playing with that technology too. Here, I'm going to send you this thing to watch. It is, that classic image of Galactus just starting to peer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that, but it's drones, and it just keeps going, and it's so cool. I just sent it to you. I'm excited.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, all of this sounds awesome. I mean, there's nothing in there that made me go like, "Oh, that doesn't sound cool." Like everything I have heard and seen so far.
So, hold on one second. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Hold on.
I am, or you?
No, I got a little bit of feedback. Hold on. There we go. Anyways, I'm excited for it. It looks just retro 60s. Like that sounds cool.
Over
Classic
the
Fantastic Four. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Over in the DC side of things, I'm just trying to because we're so late.
Yeah.
On the DC side of things, apparently Rick Flag, Joel Kinnaman, is going to be coming back as Rick Flag in Peacemaker season 2. Hey. So I don't know if that means it's going to be like a flashback thing, or if he's not dead, or like what the deal is. But yeah, character super excited for Peacemaker season 2. Peacemaker is one of my favorite shows.
Such a good show.
Yeah.
Such a good show. Cat.
Good man.
Evil cat.
He's not. He's just misunderstood.
All cats are evil.
Fellow nerd Joe hates all cats.
Yeah.
And I just get tired of him yelling at me about how much he hates cats when like my best friend's a cat. So and then I'm not trying to make a racial joke either, but black cats, they're like horribly discriminated against. Like they don't get adopted as much,
because they're evil. They're extra evil.
Yeah, they're not.
I'm surprised that cat hasn't knocked over your statues yet, because that's a very cat-esque.
No, he knows. When I first got him when he was a kitten, I moved him up. And then when he got older, I put them back so it's 2 and 2. And he sniffed them, and I just had a conversation with him. I said, "You're not allowed to get him," and he knows that's one thing he's definitely not allowed to do. There's a couple of things. A lot of stuff he ignores me on, but like certain stuff, he's like,
he knows.
Okay, yeah, like downstairs, he knows he's not allowed to go into the window because I'm worried it'll damage the blinds. And he's just like, "Yep. Not allowed. I get it." And then he just sits in front of them and like looks at them, but he knows he's not allowed to stick his head through them or walk in them. What's up?
Well, anyways, DC Comic-Con.
So Peacemaker. Let's see. Oh, also, this isn't DC, but Mark Grayson. So season 4 has been approved. Approved for Invincible. So apparently that's going to be his darkest and most intense era. So those bigger stories really start crashing down in season 3, but season 4 is going to dwarf season 3 in a lot of really crazy ways. Nice. Which, I mean, that's kind of because we're getting season 3 soon.
Right.
And
this is like August, right?
Yeah. I don't remember exactly, but they did it at the same time as season 2. And so season 4 is the next one they're working on. I read about them. They're talking about how they learned a lot of stuff doing seasons 2 and 3, and so they're gonna and it was too late to kind of. I'll give you food in a second. It was too late to kind of fix or not fix, but improve season 3. But they're putting everything they learned into season 4. I sent you a picture. Did you see the suit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks so good. I love the blue and black. It's my favorite of the suit.
It kind of reminded me Blue Beetle, tiny bit. Blue Beetle vibes.
A little bit,
I like
because
it.
the things.
Yeah.
It definitely looks like a darker suit.
Yeah. Like a Cord. What's his name? Cord. What's his first name?
Wait, who?
The Blue Beetle. What's his first name? Cord. Ted Cord. Yeah. Kind of like a Ted Cord-ish looking vibe, but Ted Cord was a little bit stockier, but.
I see what you're saying because of the
gave me a little
blue,
bit of Ted Cord vibe, yeah. But I'm excited. I don't know what I'm walking into, so.
Yeah, that's almost cool. I mean, it's written by the same guy, so that's dope.
Right.
And he's saying there's a lot of stuff that he's doing in the show that like he feels surpasses the comics. So.
No, that's good.
Yeah. Superboy, the one from. Do you remember Doomsday? Death Superman era Superboy.
Yeah.
We had like the little sunglasses and
yeah,
that one. He's
the '90s brat.
He's going to be in season 3 of My Adventures with Superman, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, they're just throwing.
I don't know. I'm guessing it'll probably follow the same storyline with like, hey, we need a clone of Superman.
Right.
And so they make him, and then he's like, I don't want to be this. I want girls. Yep. And then remember he was like hitting on Lois Lane and stuff. And like, yeah. My favorite bit was when he like picked up something huge and stuff, and then Supergirl like picks him and the thing up, and then like and everyone's like, loser, and then he's like. I like his kind of teenage angst, kind of like I'm trying to be cool, but I'm not,
So I remember following the death of Superman. This comic was everywhere, but then after that, you had all like the newer super versions of Superman. There's like the cyborg one,
the return of the Superman.
Yeah, so and then there was the one that was like the '90s, like I'm cool, like he looked like the BK Kids crew a little bit.
Yeah, we had the Eradicator.
Yeah.
We had Cyborg Superman. We had Steel, Man of Steel. John Henry Irons.
Yep.
And then we had Superboy, which was the clone.
I like
Eradicator.
Steel. I'm glad that we got. I'm glad that we got Steel in My Adventures with Superman. That was.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, very different Steel. But Iron Man. The Eradicator, we found out, was actually like made by the Fortress of Solitude to like take over for Superman. And then while he was getting healed and stuff, and then Cyborg Superman turned out to be the big villain. And then Irons, obviously, he wasn't even trying to be Superman. He was just like trying to keep the memory alive. And then Superboy kept being like, I'm Superman. And then, again, the comic, his name was Superboy, and then crossed out and wrote man on it. Because, again, that was his whole character. Like, he was a young teenager trying to be like, I'm cool. And people were like, no. But I get that. I thought that was a cool little addition to the character. I liked it. But yeah, so that sounds cool. I mean, My Adventures with Superman has knocked it out of the park every single time, in my opinion.
It's a feel good show. I like it.
It's great.
It's just God, it warms my belly. It's fun. The characters are phenomenal. I like it. All of it.
Me too.
I want more.
We're getting more, so that sounds awesome. We just mentioned this. The MCU past the 30 billion mark. So The Boys, Eric Kripke has teased that there's going to be another prequel to The Boys. I do kind of think it's funny that they're mocking everything the MCU does, and yet they're like, we need more boys. Although their little chart of the films, like, that was great. And this is taking us into like 2070 or something like that.
Right. So it's going to focus on a Soldier Boy, right?
Yeah, so it's going to be Soldier Boy and it's gonna these are the Boys prequel series. It may include the first Herogasm event. He says, "I think we'd be crazy not to." And then Superboy and Stormfront apparently founded it. So basically, like, you remember Herogasm is like, we gotta go save the planet, and they were like, "Yeah, let's just have a bunch of giant orgy and stuff." Right. Apparently, they had to like give like all the prostitutes and stuff like steroids and make them tougher so they could handle all the soups, like railing them all the time.
Damn,
such a dark show. But yeah, so they're going to be the two leads in the new show. So it's going to have, Stormfront and Soldier Boy. They're going to be the leads.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And it's weird that like it's like, oh, all right, can't wait to see that Nazi again. You know,
right? Well, I mean, the main story is ending next in its final 5th season, whenever that comes out. So they have to keep sucking the teat. Need to keep milking the teat, and then.
Well, we're also getting another season of
Gen V.
Gen V,
yep.
Yeah. So
Gen V was great, though. I mean,
it was good, yeah.
Just until it gets bad, keep milking until it gets bad. You'll know when it gets bad. The fans will tell you when it gets bad.
I mean, it made sense though. The primary show they're ending at 5 seasons.
Yeah.
So, and then Ryan Reynolds. Someone asked if he would watch Green Lantern with his family. Direct quote: "I would actually genuinely rather watch just a fucking 24-hour marathon of Paw Patrol." So he does not like that movie.
Good for him.
I already mentioned this finally, but Invincible has been renewed for season 4 at Prime Video.
Nice.
So all awesome stuff. Nothing in the news that I was just like, boo. You know what I mean? I like everything that we're seeing.
Right.
So that's all I got in the news. You got anything else?
No. That's it. There's some DC news, some more information about the new Batman show we're getting.
Caped Crusader. I had that as a thing that they put out the trailer. It looks awesome.
Yeah. So apparently it's going to be set in like a 1930s Gotham City, which I think is cool. Kind of bring it back to its roots, I guess, because watching the Batman animated series as a kid, I can never quite put in my head where it sat.
Tommy guns and stuff.
Yeah, like it didn't. Okay, there's Tommy guns, but there's VCRs, like, and there's like discs. So where does it? Like the Gotham City broke my kid brain trying to figure out where it placed on the timeline, and then the sister city. So to bring it back to like, okay, there's 1930s. Like, I like that. So
yeah. I mean, I don't really mind. I guess in my head it was just a fictional universe. You know what I mean? Yeah, it had different rules. But yeah, no, I saw the trailer. It looked amazing. That comes out August 1st. Can't wait. Also in trailers, we got the trailer for Creature Commandos. Did you watch
So
that?
I didn't watch the trailer yet. I just realized that like a few minutes ago, I realized, holy shit, I forgot to watch the Creature Commandos.
So we got to see it. I mean, I'll admit it. There was nothing that made me go like, yes, you know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, there was nothing that made me go boo. I just kind of went like, okay, yeah, like let's see how it goes, you know. Basically, we see, oh god, I'm blanking on his name, but the leader come in, and then it's like, oh, this is Task Force X, and then he's like, I thought we couldn't use people for Task Force X, and then she's like, these aren't people. And then it introduces the team. We get to see each of them, kind of doing something unique and cool. And then
Weasel just being Weasel. Okay.
Weasel, yeah. There's, so it looks cool. I'm excited for it. I mean, I don't know. Like, I was excited for it. This trailer didn't really detract or, you know.
Yeah.
It just kind of middle grounded for me.
It was safe.
Cool. Yeah. It didn't blow me away, but I'm not like, boo, I don't want to see this either.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm interested more to see the Authority, because I think that's a team that like you don't see a lot of, and so I'm interested to see them. I can't think of any other trailers we had. We could jump straight into reviews. You probably haven't seen some of these, so I'll quickly go through them. We had the new season of Hitmonkey.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. It's on my. I was going to throw that on today.
So I turned on Hitmonkey, and I was like, because we ran out a lot of shows that were like the recurring shows, like a lot of things have ended, and so I was like, I'm just gonna watch one episode, and then I'll come back and watch another episode maybe next week, and I'll spread this out, and then it ended, and I was like, another episode, and then it ended, and I was like, another episode. I ended up binging the whole thing.
Are they? I forget. Are those full episodes, or are they like little 15-minute episodes? I forget what.
No, they're full.
Okay.
Yeah, they're full episodes. It's
Okay.
a full show. I mean, so it picks up where the last one left off. It feels exactly the same. It's got that over the top comic book feel where they're fighting larger than life villains. It's got an interesting plot where they meet this other assassin group, and they're like tired of being assassins, and there's this Hitmonkey's sword, there's another sword, and if you draw it you end up taking on the power of it, and then we find out that's part of a whole bunch of items, and everybody has these different abilities. Like one dude can turn giant, and so they're like the Illuminati. The assassins are trying to take them down, but they don't want to be assassins anymore. So the idea is once they take those guys down, they can quit. And Hitmonkey, he's like this sensitive little guy. He doesn't want to be an assassin either, so he starts hanging out with them. And the what's his name, the guy that the ghost that hangs out with him, he's in hell, and basically Satan's like, and he's like, no, I'll send you souls. I'll go back and I'll get Hitmonkey to kill more like evil people, and then they'll send him to you. And then the devil's like, yeah, okay. And it's like, yeah, he's like got hooks in him, and he's got one up his butthole and stuff, and he's roasting. He's like, this can't be the end for me. This can't be the end for me. So yeah, it's a cool plot. Each episode is just so action packed and awesome. They make references within themselves, like when the one girl pulls the katana and turns into the giant, like to the samurai warrior. He's like, wow, someone just got an upgrade, So yeah, it's great. The only thing I would say is it's a little light on actual Hitmonkey. Like he's in every episode. It just seems to be following some of the other characters more.
Okay.
But still excellent. I enjoyed every episode.
Nice.
It's got that same twisted humor, that over the top. People are dying left and right.
Right.
Fantastic. I enjoyed every episode.
Nice.
We also had Kite Man just released. Kite Man, hell yeah. I know the show isn't for everybody. It tickles me. Like the what's it? Oh God. So like in the early episode, like the Legion of Doom, they're like, we need a flying superhero, supervillain to like watch the skies for us, and so they like bring in Kite Man, even though no one wants to. And then he gets blown away by a gust of wind or something and hits something, and yeah. So and then like, but his girlfriend Golden Glider, she's like, she supports him anyway. And then like there was a bit that just cracked me up where like Luther comes by like on TV because he won't go into their bar because he's too pressed for that.
Right.
And then like Kite Man's like beaten and bruised and lying on the floor, and he's trying to he's like, you know what, Luther, you may have billions of dollars and a private army and a massive company, and Golden Glider's like, what a fucking loser. And then he's like, I haven't said the bad part yet, babe. She's like, 10-4, babe. I just like their kind of supportive relationship.
Their banter.
Yeah, and it's an enjoyable, if you like comedy and you're not one of those people that's like, I can't believe they said that about Nightwing,
Right.
It's silly, just have fun,
Right.
I dug it. We find also, what's her name? Oh God, I blank on her name. There's one of the new gods. She's a Fury.
Okay.
She shows up and she gets a job at the bar, and then it looks like she's gonna get fired, and then Darkseid shows up and he's like, "You've been fired from another job?" And they're like, "No, she's the best one." And then he sits down. He's like, "Oh, thanks for taking me here, my little girl." And all that. So it's Darkseid. It does that thing where they take kind of like
they humanize him a little bit.
Yeah, like Venture Brothers, where they make him more like that.
Right.
So yeah, it was great.
I I can jump
Okay,
into
so
Deadpool really
jump
quick.
into the real like meat. So go ahead. You saw Deadpool
Yeah, so
versus Wolverine.
yeah, so Deadpool Wolverine. Saw this with fellow nerd Dan, the Misses, and the Youngling, and Ellie. Everybody was there. So, was it a perfect movie? No. It narratively, it was very choppy. I think I can vaguely explain what the story was. There's a TVA guy, Paradox, who's trying to essentially mulch the Fox universe to create the perfect timeline or something, but he wants to.
We do spoiler free because I'd rather not know.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been trying to
I mean, so that's the premise, but no spoilers whatsoever. So, if you want to see Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman just make jokes at each other for 2 hours, and it is the perfect movie. It is fun. The jokes are fun. I had mentioned on the bro chat that they actually dropped the C word twice, and it's really quick, and it's in the context of talking about Hugh Jackman being from Australia, and it's like, oh, you know how they refer to it? It's a friendly term. It's in, in the context. So they drop it twice really quick. It suffers from the same kind of issue that tragically the villain was just sort of whatever, nothing really to write home of. Like some cool moments, very hard R. That's about all I could say because I don't want to spoil any of the cameos. But what it does do great is that it tributes everything that was and could have been, and it doesn't set up for anything else. It tells its own contained story. It doesn't end with the, oh, Deadpool or Wolverine will return. It doesn't have any of that tagline. It has one end credit scene that...
So it only one, it doesn't do the one and then the one after.
See, I don't even want to tell you what... Yeah, so there's something going on during the credits, no spoilers, and then you get the end scene, and then that's it, the movie's over with, and...
So you don't need to sit through everything all the way to the end.
No, so sit through everything until the end, until you get the end credit scene, which I thought was funny. Some people don't like it. I thought it was funny. But there's nothing after that. There's just...
It's killing it on reviews. It was the highest R-rated opening.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
got really high Rotten Tomato scores.
As far as like the flow of it, I give it a 6. Like that's the biggest struggle about it is that it's very.
Well, what's your
bloggy.
pitch nerds rating system?
Oh, it's a shut up and take my money. 8,000%. Holy shit! No, this. See, I can't say anything. And like that's the thing. I can't say anything. There's a reason why the trailers were framed the way they were, and showed so little. Because I don't want to spoil anything. There's one thing that I knew that they would do, and if you think about it would be an obvious thing that they would do. But I don't even want to say that. And we discussed it before of them doing this one very specific thing. They did it. People were complaining that there wasn't enough cameos, and if you're to like in the greater sense, I can kind of see. Kind of sort of what they mean by that, but the ones that we got were phenomenal. That's it. The ones that we got were perfect.
Okay.
That's it. Shut up and take my money. That's all I want to say about it.
All right. So you recommend it? People should check it out.
Oh, yeah.
I have I have a little trouble getting to theaters because they're so far away.
So
where I'm at.
One of the best ongoing jokes are the cocaine jokes, because they made a big deal out of the trailer. Oh, we can't do it. We can't do it. But the entire movie, they're like, I want to do cocaine. 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 But there's never the actual, like, bamf in the face with the cocaine. They're just conveying their agony throughout the entire movie passively, that they're just so desperately wanting to do cocaine. It's one of those funny little, like, underweaves of the joke.
Yeah.
It's like, so that was funny.
All right. Well, I look forward to it. I plan to check it out as soon as I can. It's good to hear that you enjoyed it. I mean, from what I can tell, everybody enjoyed it. A lot of people were like, "It's the greatest MCU movie ever."
No.
Sounds like you don't agree with that.
Where I would place it, I think the first two flowed better narratively.
Okay.
But the comedy of the three movies I think the comedy of the third one is probably just a niche higher than the second one. But the second movie told the story better, if that makes sense.
You know the oh god, I used to have that power where I didn't have to go into work when I lived with you, and so I went to the fancy theater that was near us, and I saw the first one. Kind of got ruined by the guy who was sitting next to me because he kept doing like weird dances and stuff and talking the whole time, and he was like 60. I don't want to ruin it for him. But like, stop talking. Like, it's like, what's my name? And then like in the movie, and then the guy next to me goes, Francis. Like, and I'm just like, shut up, dude.
Right. So I used to deal with. I had the theme park version of that is when you're amongst a group of people and you're doing lines that they've heard 1,000 times and they start parroting your lines as you're saying your line. Yeah, like shut the fuck up. But anyway, shut up and take my money. I can't wait for you to see it because the cameos that we got were just mwah. You don't how they kept them. That's it. Yeah, that's it. I'm done.
All right, so we had a couple of finale. Well, let's jump into the one that isn't a finale first. So we had another episode of House of Dragons.
Yes.
I don't think we talked about because we weren't here last week. But I think last week was the one where we see the I can't remember her name, but she dies.
Not Vanera. I forget their names.
I forget all their names too. But the king, there was that
the older one.
They draw out the dragons.
Yeah.
Kristen is planning to draw out the dragon, and she goes to take out the army, and then it turns out they had that really large one, hiding and stuff. And then the king's like, "No, I'm gonna go into battle." And then so that all happens. We got an interesting part where like Sir Kristen was clearly rattled. He was like,
"Yeah,
what's our even point here? We're nothing compared to these dragons.
Right. These are gods."
Yeah, and then the king dies, and then there was that they made the mistake of dragging the dragon's head.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, "What are you doing?"
Right.
Because they all saw it as a bad omen.
Right.
So this picked up with all the ramifications of that. We also got to see their plan to she needed dragons and dragon riders.
Yeah.
So that one, I knew he wasn't going to be able to ride that thing. I was like, "There's no way. You just don't look cool enough."
Right?
You are at best a side character. I'm sorry.
Red shirt.
But then we see Sea Smoke obviously wet, and he was like, "Hey, to be my rider." And we saw a little bit of a clip from today's episode. Sea Smoke's on the beach with him.
I haven't seen any clips from today yet.
No. Well, we saw it at the end of the show. What happened next week?
Okay.
And we see Sea Smoke on the beach with the rider and stuff, and he's like, "Look, he's mine. I picked him out." That's just what I got, the impression of him. But the show continues to be excellent.
It's so good. So I wonder
which side are you? Are you which of the aisles are you?
I'm on the God, not the ones in King's Landing, but the other one.
The greens. You're not the greens.
I'm on the greens.
No, the greens is the King's Landing.
Oh no, the other ones, the blacks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're not them. You're the reds, I guess.
Yeah,
the true queen and everything.
I'm on theirs.
I thought it was brilliant of them sending food and getting the small. That's what the name of the episode was, the small folk.
Okay.
And that was them rising up, and they were like, "We can't fight the small folk with a sword," and then they started going nuts and stuff and attacking the queen and her daughter and stuff I don't know what the official term is, but that was insane.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just sorry, quick thing. Yeah, have you ever heard of the thing? Was it pig butchering? Have you ever heard of pig butchering? The scam?
You're talking about the scam?
Yeah, I'm currently being pig butchered. Hi, Dr. John. How is my horse recovering? This is Anna. Yeah, that's
Great.
it.
I shot it. I realized it wasn't gonna make it, so I shot it.
Realized it wasn't going to make it, so I shot it. It's something about glue.
Oh, like it'll make some fine glue.
Yeah, it'll make some mighty fine glue.
Yeah.
Mighty fine glue. I tell you what. I'll say she'll make you some mighty fine glue. I'll tell you what. Haha. It's so random. It's so random. Anyways.
Wait, watch. It's not someone. It's someone who's like horses actually like dying. Anyway,
I suppose that is a statistical probability. But
yeah. But yeah, excellent episode. This show just continues to just be great each week. I can't find a fault. I do hate that people are mad at the actor that plays Sir Kristen.
yeah,
Like,
so my God, the world turned on that man. The world loved him, and all of a sudden, shame on you. Everybody hates him now. Even Mrs.
well,
Cap.
it made sense. I thought that was cool that the show did that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? With the character.
Well, so that's what's great
But,
about
like-
Game of Thrones. That's sort of like it's the best thing it does, right? Is that
Yeah.
it makes you feel about characters. It's not.
And also, I like that people don't have. I mean, that was the problem with the later seasons in the original.
Right.
Was
Became
it's
very
like,
black
what
and
made
white.
it great is no one has plot armor. When they ride into battle, you're like, I don't know if they're gonna live.
Right.
You know, like, and I thought that was cool. But yeah, I also like the frustration in the queen. She's like, I can't do anything, and all these like she like slaps that one dude. She's like, it's my fault that you don't fear me.
Yeah. That was a great scene.
We also had that moment where she's like hooking up with the advisor chick that she's brought on.
Yeah, so the internet is apparently a rabble because that's going off book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't care. Like, I'm not gonna make that joke. You know when a joke goes in your head,
Do
and
it.
then you just hear that no.
Just hitting the E-stop.
Yeah.
Shut her down! Shut her down! The gates slowly closing.
Do you remember Tay, that robot, that Microsoft chatbot that the internet turned racist in 24 hours? In my brain, like someone was at Microsoft, like ripping cables out. We gotta shut her down. Like, what are you doing? She's become too powerful.
I'm sorry,
So,
Dave.
like,
That's something I cannot allow to happen. School day, school day.
but yeah, House of
stop.
Dragons. Shut Up and Take My
Oh,
Money.
shut up and take my money.
Cannot wait
Oh,
for
we
the
get another
next
one tonight. Yes. Can't
Yep.
wait.
I know, but the sad part is we got no My Adventures with Superman today, but we had the finale. My Adventures with Supergirl. Fantastic.
That was great.
It was so good.
It's so feel good. I like how I can walk away from every episode with a smile. It's so cheesy, but it's done so well, and it's so
But
good.
it's also like the action, like when Supergirl's like, bro, her eyes
She's-
are red and all
she's
the
fucking
robots are
taking
with
the
her.
thing. Yes.
Yeah, and like it's so good. Oh man, I just don't get people who are not into their show. It's like this is my I afterward they said it, I was like, you know what, like this is my current favorite version of the character. Like, and it's one of the best I've ever seen. I think it surpasses, like, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, "That's correlated." I think it surpasses the animated series. I do, as a characterization of the character. I love this version.
You know, it's that little zest of anime is what it is. Just that the ability to really articulate that emotion, and that anime style sort of accentuates that. Whereas the original animated series is very blocky, very stoically drawn. They can the characters that they can inflect more.
There was certain episodes where we like the one where he took Martian Manhunter home, and they're laughing about how like we had to wrap his presents in lead so that he couldn't see through him, and then he was like, "You mean Santa did?" And then she's like, "Oh right, dear." And then like they're like, "Nobody comes into our house without a gift," and they give him a sweater. And for some reason it didn't fit him. I think these guys are all giant, but he just Martian Manhunter didn't do it, but like still like. How do you make a sweater too small for them? You know,
right? Never thought of it like
But
that.
anyway, too big for them. So.
Yeah.
But so this episode was great. We got to see the final showdown with them against Brainiac.
Mm-hmm.
We find out Brainiac. There is another threat out there though, because they hinted at that like Brainiac could see that like they weren't like I can't remember the details, but he mentioned that one of their enemies. Mm-hmm. So obviously Krypton had another enemy, but Brainiac was responsible for the death of Krypton ultimately. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with season 2.
Fucking Lobo shows up. He was a threat to Krypton. Fucking Lobo.
It ends with what's his name? With Supergirl hanging out with the Kents and stuff. Yep. Yeah, and it's just adorable.
It's feel good. Like the
one question I have is I look, I'm fine with the now I'm Superman, now I'm Clark. I'm fine with that. But there's no reasonable reason to think that Clark isn't Superman because they all hang out together.
Right.
And then you know what I mean? Like they're always together, and then it's like, well, where did Clark go? But this guy's here, like that. I know I just got to shut down that part of my brain.
Yeah,
but,
just
I'm always
depower. No, it was such a good show. It's such a good show.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. I think the finale was kind of perfect, and I'm glad that Supergirl's sticking around because I think her character was great. I loved her fighting and everything. And then the villains showed up and they're like we're the cavalry and stuff like that. And
you sort of have to at that point, right? You're going up against a fucking Brainiac. Lay down your arms. We got to take care of this before we resume this type of thing. I like it when shows do that.
But like that moment where they're all going up and stuff, and then it's that's very anime as well. It's like we gotta keep going. No, we're gonna back out. You go. You know what I mean?
But see,
they did it in that Final Fantasy Advent Children. Where they're
throwing each other.
Yeah, it's that kind of stuff.
But it's fine. It's fun.
It's great. Great. So shut up and take my money for that.
It's so refreshing to just make Superman wholesome again. Just make him wholesome. It feels wholesome, and the relationship with him and Lois is just so cute. It's perfect. It's nice. Anyways.
Yeah, because last week that was my one part where I thought they went a little too far with the cheese. We weren't here for last week, but I was fine with the whole yummy. The Black Mercy and everything, but the part where they're taking turns swinging each other up to punch it.
That was adorable. Shut the fuck up. That was adorable. Shut the fuck up.
They're like, oh, you don't know who we are.
There's a part of you that was in tears when you saw that, goddammit. I knew it. That was a great scene.
So then we also had the other big finale, and I was so sad to see the show, was The Boys. We got to see their finale.
Right.
Honestly, and I don't want to get too political, but I found it a little chilling the way it ended, where
me too. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Now going from feel good to holy shit.
Yeah. But yeah, because it looked like Homelander was like oh shit, everything's fucked.
Right.
And then of course I knew she was coming back.
I knew it. I called it. It was all part of the plan.
Too big of a character.
Right.
But Sage comes back and she's like, "Why aren't you celebrating?" She's like, "I got you."
Right.
And he's like, "Wait, you do? I told you to leave." She was like, "Yeah, I had a pivot and everything."
Yeah.
And then but we see her plan, and we see I love the fact that Robert Singer joke is still going on. From Supernatural, because you don't know, Robert Singer is the producer on the show for Supernatural.
Okay.
And so they made a character named Bobby Singer in Supernatural, and then they made Robert Singer in this, and it's played by the same guy, and he is you idiots and stuff that's 100% Supernatural. Supernatural, there's so much of that woven into the show. Obviously, we also got the big reveal that they found what's his name body. Oh God, Captain America, but not.
Soldier Boy.
Yeah, they find Soldier Boy and he's under stasis. And then them killing everybody at Vought.
Yeah, God, it's just That poor guy in the Deep just bashes his face. Oh, tell me I'm smart. Like,
Yeah.
tell me I'm the best, or the smartest. And he kills him anyway. That was...
They're like, shouldn't we kill Ashley? And then he's like, yeah, I guess. And then she just legs it, injects herself with the compound. We didn't get to see what happens of her, but obviously something.
Right.
Well,
we got to see Butcher. We got to see what happened to him with the.
Yeah.
God, that was brutal to watch. I mean,
I know, 'cause it was like, oh, okay, that's like their whole thing is they're bringing in they were like, oh, we're gonna bring her in, and she'll join with us, and she got scared. And then I liked Kimiko. She's my favorite character, but
Kimiko's great.
Her like staring down the daughter and stuff like that, and like angrily.
We did get the reveal with the ship, the shapeshifter, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we got to see Starlight, like, you know what I mean, like actually flying. Yeah. Because before she was like, whoa, 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 but now she flies better than Homelander. It seems.
The plot needed her to.
Yeah, true, but I mean, they've been kind of building up to it. They didn't do it like all of a sudden, like, oh, she can fly now. Like
she can fly. They fly now.
Yeah, although they did that with Black Noir in the previous one.
Yeah,
he understands the murder boner now.
Yeah,
like, God damn. It's weird because he's such a piece of shit, but I think the Deep might be my favorite character, other than Kimiko.
You kind of empathize with the guy a little bit.
I don't empathize with him. I
get horrible. He is a terrible human, but I sort of see that's what's great about the characters, that they're so well written, and even somebody like the Deep at surface level just seems like a creep. There's deeper things going on. Yeah, just realize that.
Sort of. I just think that his character is so funny.
Yeah.
That like I just enjoy watching him, even though what he's doing is terrible.
Oh yeah. He's a piece of shit, but yeah.
Yeah. No, it was a fantastic finale as well. Definitely should have been taking my money. Did any moments stand out to you?
God. So when Sage showed up, called it. No. So. It was all about the end, right? Everybody thinks that they're going on their separate ways, do their things, and all of a sudden, at every single location, here's the Gen V kids. Holy shit, what have they been up to? I love that they brought back, what's the name, Love Sausage? They're at the airport, and you see the... Ooh, what's this?
Yeah, so I think the only one that got away was Starlight, right?
Yeah.
And then, wait, what happened to Butcher? Because he has the virus.
Yeah, he was taken in. He was captured.
I don't think he was. Like, I can't remember now.
No.
No. But yeah. But that's what I mean. It felt very chilling at the end. Also, I thought it was, I guess, ironic because of the events of what happened, and then they made the show a long time ago, and then what happened politically, they went, oh crap. Because this whole thing was about an assassination plot against the president.
Right.
And then, so do you remember they put that thing before that? They were like, we had no idea.
We had no idea that we Simpsons this and actually predicted.
Yeah.
So, at first, I had mentioned this where it was sort of taking me out because they kept talking about January 6th, January 6th, January 6th. But then it dawned on me, well, that's the actual date that they certify. So it's not like they're trying to refer to the Jan 6. It's just a January 6. So I had that moment of clarity in my head, and I stopped. That part of me that I was grumbling about a couple weeks ago. It's like, okay, it's sort of like woven together. They're talking about January 6th, the January 6th, but
yeah,
right. But see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just think of the day I got my kidneys. So
yeah. To me, it was a day I went downstairs and had that, was it the Jeff Tucker moment from Community, where I went downstairs, I watched Starship Troopers just without a care in the world, and I emerged, and there's scaffolding and nonsense going on, like, what the hell, what I missed? What? Shots fired!
That always happens, like, for some reason, it's like, whatever, anytime some
Jeff Winger, I said
happens,
Jeff Tucker, Jeff Winger.
I'm just like, I'm gonna go to sleep, and then I wake up and pull a Jeff Winger. Like, we're like, the world's gone crazy while I've been asleep. Like, I mean, although right now it's hard to, the world is crazy. So
yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's all I got for reviews. I mean, everything's a shut up and take my money as far as I'm concerned. I can't think of anything that's I've been watching that I didn't enjoy. Real fast, I like to have a show
Mm.
that I guess I don't have to try hard on. I can just put on and kind of
Mm.
not think about. So like silly kind of sitcom
Just
comedies are good.
yeah, yeah.
And so one that I just because it kept getting recommended to me was Abbott Elementary, and like it's a silly show, but there's this episode, and I just found it so funny. It's a Halloween episode,
Mm.
and it's about these teachers, and they work at an elementary school. And one of the kids, he dresses up as Thanos, and they kept calling him Baby Thanos. But he's like the main. Usually the kids aren't the main characters, but he's like the main. So what it is, they won't let any of the kids have any of the candy while they're in show, and they're like, "Yeah, let the parents deal with the sugar rush," you know. While they're in school, and Thanos, Baby Thanos, decides like, "No, this isn't right." So he like steals the candy and kind of starts giving it out to everybody, and so everyone's having a sugar rush, and they're all trying to stop him. And he's like on the PA system. He's like, "I am inevitable," and then and then like later he's got like the what do they call the ring pops? He's got one on each ring, and then this like kid takes one away, and he's like, "Hey, I traded an 8th grader for that." And then he's like, "What did it cost you? Everything." But the best joke, they think the janitor's vision because he got something stuck to his head right here, and like, and then at the end when they're taking the little kid away, like because they finally catch him, he walks up to the janitor and he plucks the thing off his head, and then the teacher is dressed as Scarlet Witch. She's like, "No, I just lost it."
Is this an animated show or is this a?
No, it's live action. It's about these teachers that work at a elementary school in Philadelphia. It's like a inner city kind of school,
Right.
And so they don't have any money. They're always struggling and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's kind of silly, but it's also it's all about these teachers who give everything they can, even though they're all poor and stuff like that. Like. You know, like they're like one of them. They're like, "Well, like it does come with a raise," and then she's like, "How much?" And then they're like, $2, and she's like, $2? That's like $1 million.
Right. God, I remember the days where I mean, you grew up in UK, so your currency is not the dollar, but there's a time where $5 made you feel like a millionaire as a kid. That was a great time to be alive.
coin.
£2 was that what it was? Okay.
Well.
So,
in England, we don't have paper money until we get to £5.
okay.
£5 is at the time was about the equivalent of $7.50 US dollars. But yeah, you get these coins, £1 and £2 coins. It sucked though. If you lost a pound coin or a £2 coin, that's like $3 you just lost.
Right.
You know? But yeah, it's an interesting show. But that episode with Thanos and everything cracked me up. I'm guessing it was like from back when that movie was really popular.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we should probably jump into either Battle Nerds or Behold Nerds. You want to do Battle Nerds, and then we'll go back to reviews?
Yeah, who's fighting this week? My goodness gracious, it's been...
You got Superman.
Oh, that's right. Superman's going to throw Pikachu into the Sunday. So I'll call it. So, who won last week? I don't think I...
So we'll explain the game first.
Yeah, so you tally up the vote. So... Battle Nerds, this is the weekly segment where we random roll from a list of predetermined characters to pit them against a battle of the nerdiness. Of course, you all get to vote. Last time, who were our contenders last time? We skipped a week.
We did. I didn't actually get your poll.
I'm going to pull up my poll right now if there's any. I need to scroll. Was it the Indiana Jones versus Thanos?
No, last week was Stark versus Spock.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Hold on, let me scrolling.
I reached out to our Trek nerd.
I actually got... Hold on, no votes.
I believed you were right that Stark could take over the Enterprise.
Okay.
But he did say he was treating it as like a Trek version.
Okay.
And I was kind of explaining that like it wouldn't be. It would be RDJ's version of him versus Spock from Star Trek 4. But yeah, so what were your
So
what were
actually, I got 0 votes.
Okay.
That's a shame.
So we didn't get many votes on the poll, but a lot of you guys did reach out on this one. And the unbeatable has been beaten by RDJ.
Wow. Okay.
So Spock is retired. So that puts Iron Man, and that upsets the count. So
Oh my goodness.
Current totals as it stands is Rogue still in first place with 7 wins. Then in second place, tied for second place, is Thanos, Iron Man, and Vader with 4 wins each. In third place, we've got the Terminator T-800 Model 101 with 3 wins. And then just after that is today's, I guess, fourth place, Pikachu versus also fourth place, Superman.
Hell yeah.
So, so basically, Iron Man's going to keep going on.
Okay. Can we have a silent memorandum for Mr. Spock? May God rest his soul. My goodness, he was a fun character to play.
He was. I enjoyed. It was interesting that if someone's gonna take him down, though, it's gonna be Iron Man. You know.
But see, that's good, right? I'm okay with this. He's a fun character because then you get to rely on like Star Trek universe stuff, and Star Trek is very like tangible. It's grounded. So, anyway, so I am going.
Which version are you going with for Superman?
So, oh my goodness, should I be a dick and be My Adventures with Superman up against a Pikachu? They'll be friends. I mean,
yeah, they have to fight, but yeah.
Whatever
version you want.
You know what? I'm just gonna go classic animated Superman.
Okay, so we're going with the Superman the animated series.
Yeah, animated series.
I'm going with Ash's Pikachu, since he's the most, as far as I can tell, he's the most powerful.
He is a powerful little goober. So I feel like you're at the disadvantage of this one, and you've had a lot of time to think of his schemes. So how can
I know? But I didn't know which version you were going. I mean, you could just go Infinite Frontier Superman and be like, fuck.
But that's not fun though.
So,
scale
animated
it down.
Series Superman. Well, that kind of levels the playing field.
Yeah, I wanted to bring it down a little bit.
I can actually now. But I still think though that Superman probably is going to be the contender. So I think Superman's flying around. He sees Ash battling someone, and Superman's like, "Hey, like that's not cool. You're making animals fight for fun."
Right.
And then maybe Superman tries to stop him, and Pikachu's like, "Pika, Pika," but
Right.
and then he protects him, and then he's like, "Pikachu," and then Superman's like, "Ah," and then so they.
No, it has to be it has to be anime like unexpected.
Yeah, yep. I mean he fights Livewire and stuff, and he beat Livewire, but electricity, it does hurt him. But I could see Superman definitely winning. But we have to remember, he's gonna win the first encounter. But assuming Ash can get away, or Ash maybe he gets out of jail, Pikachu's gonna definitely, or Juvie.
Yeah.
Pikachu's gonna definitely break out of whatever he's in. He's gonna find Ash.
I wonder if Pokemon Detention is just them in a Pokeball. Would there actually be prisons for Pokemon? Because isn't the Pokeball itself the prison? What do they got going on in there?
They enjoy, except for Pikachu, they generally like going back in there.
Yeah.
So Superman wins initially, but then Ash. We gotta remember, Ash wants to be the very best.
No one ever was. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he's gonna train them. And he's gonna keep training Pikachu, and he's gonna master these different forms.
He's gonna find some Pokemon master who knows some ancient technique that was written on some tablet.
No, I got this. So then he's like Pikachu, I don't know how we're gonna do this. We need something. You can evolve a Pikachu with a Thunderstone.
Yes.
What if you could take Kryptonite?
Yes. I love it.
And so he like, I mean, it wouldn't want to do an evolution, but could Pikachu channel his energy through the kryptonite?
Yes.
And so, like, he's fight. So Superman comes in. He's like, "I didn't tell you, young man." And then he's like, "Pikachu, use kryptonite thunderbolt." And then, like, he throws freaking like the kryptonite. Like,
then Pikachu shoots it.
Hang on, I got this.
Okay.
He goes, "Wow!" And he throws it because he's really good at throwing. And then Pikachu goes, "Pikachu!" And then it hits the stone right when Ash throws it. And then all of a sudden the lightning turns fucking like green.
Turns green and just...
And then like it's a... And then like Ash, he's not going to kill him, but he's going to be then standing over him. He's like, "I want you to know that I beat you. I could have hit you with a stronger thunderbolt, but I didn't have to." And then he's gonna have some talk about how Pokemon are like my friends and everything like that.
They actually enjoy fighting each other.
Superman's gonna be like, "Okay," and then maybe they team up to like take down Team Rocket, who's blasting off again.
Right.
And
ooh, what is this kryptonite? Maybe we can infuse it with our this. Oh. Yeah. So,
I know, that's what I got.
So
by combining a thunderbolt with kryptonite, he defeats Superman.
Okay. So, Youngling, Superman versus Pikachu. Superman. But what if Pikachu were to infuse his power with kryptonite, like how you would evolve one with the Thunderstone to turn it into a Raichu? What if you can apply the same principle with kryptonite?
But you can't. No, see, I think he would...
Like use it as like a conduit to... So, right, but it's so she's saying because it's not terrestrial, it wouldn't work.
Well, no, but I mean I don't mean he evolves him with it.
No, but she's saying that
he hits the lightning into the gem, which then comes out.
No, I hear it.
Why wouldn't it work?
She says because it's not terrestrial, it's alien.
What does that mean?
It's not of this earth. That's
okay,
what, but I know what you're thinking.
I don't see why is that a thing in Pokemon?
I don't know. No, she's walking away. Anyways, she's just trying to microwave a burrito.
No, I'm microwaving my brownies.
Oh,
okay.
She's microwaving.
I didn't know that was the thing that terrestrial doesn't work. I mean, it's not even the right Earth. They're definitely not here.
It's an elsewhere. Anyways, but so. Yeah, I like that. If you were to scale it down, okay, just enough to, tips the hat back. I like that.
That's what he does when he throws Pokeballs. So I figure he throws it, and then it's like, and then he goes, "Pikachu, use Thunderbolt," and then they combine that way.
Yeah.
And Pikachu, and then he takes down Superman that way. So why does Superman win?
Oh, it's Superman. I think. Because it is the first encounter that matters, right?
Well.
So, if I wanted to be a dick, just throw him into the sun, but Superman wouldn't do that. It's just... I think it might just be like, whoa, easy there, son, and he might even pick up Pikachu, and hey, you're pretty cool. Might even take him to his Fortress of Solitude, put him in a tube, and have his computers analyze him, have him make some friends in the Fortress of Solitude with other critters of unique likeness. Just, I don't know. It's
so you're saying he's going to imprison Pikachu.
If he wanted to. I mean, God, how do you scale this down to a level that isn't just...
But you already did. You picked the animated series.
Yeah,
so how does animated series counter my Thunderbolt Kryptonite?
Oh my goodness, just... Okay, so she's saying that Pikachu in the past has been a conduit to, for other things.
Absorbing attacks.
To absorb other things. I think Superman could just fly up and just heat ray Pikachu. Hit Pikachu with the intensity of the sun. Yeah. Heat ray.
I mean, or you picked a weaker version. I mean, I remember I'm watching him fight like a giant.
So what's cool is that Superman can kind of go through all the different versions of the Pokemon, right? He can do like an Earth type where he can just punch the ground and Pikachu has to evade it. He can use heat vision, so he's like a flame type. He can use his cold breath, so he's almost like a water type or something. It's cool. So
there needs to be a very important distinction. Is it a regular ass Pikachu or is it Ash's?
no, it's Ash's Pikachu.
Oh, okay. That's okay, because Ash's Pikachu is way too over fucking powered.
Yeah, to quote the youngling, Ash's Pikachu is way too fucking overpowering.
I mean, normally.
Yeah, normally. So,
but I mean, you're talking. He's a Pikachu powerful enough to like throw down.
yeah. So, what can Ash's Pikachu take a punch from Superman?
Probably not.
Yeah. So, I mean, it'd be like okay. Oh, that. You're making me.
Because you use quick attack, and then
Yeah.
he's evading him. Use Iron Tail.
It reminds me of the episode of when Mr. Mixopedaling was trying to fool Superman, and every time Superman just would send him back to his dimension, like he just constantly kept fooling him with minimal effort. Like I sort of scale it to that, or it's like, just shaking off everything Pikachu can throw at him. I don't think he would necessarily kill Pikachu, but as far as like, you know what? You want to train to be the very best? I'll train with you, son. Oh, you did real good there. You might want to, dust off next time you're in Metropolis. Give me a call there, big guy. You can spar again. Just be a little bit more careful next time. You're making people nervous with your godly powers of lightning and running around. I see it ending with like a heartwarming, like, hey, just keep it down.
I don't know. I could see like Luther being like, like
Luther watching from a satellite.
Yeah, no, and so he's like, oh, I got an idea, and then so he like brings Ash's Pikachu and he builds him a suit, kryptonite powered suit, or a kryptonite enabled suit, but Pikachu's
like Metallo
riding in it. It's like Pikachu armor,
right?
And he's like the power source, like Pikachu, and that's what flows through the kryptonite. And so yeah, it's a Luther suit with Pikachu in, like Pikachu shaped.
Okay.
But it uses kryptonite to kryptonite his things, and he's the one that tricks Ash to fight Superman, saying like, oh yeah, that guy like wants to like take all the Pokemon, and like,
that guy's a Team Rocket. Go get him.
Yeah, exactly. And then like, what's his name's there, Brock, and Misty, and they're like, Ash, we need to stop him. And then meanwhile, like Misty's fighting like Wonder Woman with her Pokemon.
With Starmie and Staryu.
Yeah.
Who's Brock fighting with Onyx? Who's Brock fighting? God.
I don't know. Pick another leaguer. I guess Batman.
No, no. Batman's dealing with Team Rocket. Like he's figuring out their inner workings or whatnot. Like, no, who's this Team Rocket? No, these two are too incompetent. What's like the bigger scheme going on here?
I like the idea of Brock, of like Batman being like, you need to come with me, and then he's like, Onyx, and Batman's like. Throwing explosives and stuff.
Okay, that's fun. That's fun. Anyways, it is not up to us. It is up to y'all. So we will put on our social medias, Twitter, Facebook. Let us know who you.
You can also message us directly.
I'll message us directly. Let's roll for next week. Yeah. What are we rolling? Is it? Okay. Are we at D10 yet?
I think it's probably like a D8 or something.
Oh, we're at D8 now. Shit. Where's a D8? That's a D10. Here's a D8.
We have 7 left, so it's a D8.
Ah! It's a 3.
Yeah, so that's still Pikachu, so reroll. Oh. I got a 5.
I got a 1. It's Superman again.
Reroll at Superman.
Because we have early today.
Huh?
I'm going to rehearsal. So
okay.
I'll be back 5.
Okay, if you need a ride, let me know. Okay, love you. Have fun. 4.
Okay, so the reigning champ, Rogue, takes on the Terminator. You got Rogue.
Yes.
Takes on the Terminator T800 series Model 101. So Rogue versus the Terminator is going to be our throwdown next week. So make sure to tune in for that. Yeah, that'll be an interesting one.
Terminator's a fun character to play. And he's a fun
You know which
character.
version?
He's a fun character to represent. No, because you'll probably think of a Frosty way to like use time travel to take out Rogue, because that's what one has to do with Terminator. You have to think 8-dimensionally.
Well, I mean, you just you need to kill Rogue, send him back.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But it's also Rogue, so I mean,
Yeah.
X-Men use time travel stuff. Too,
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. I'll think about this one. Oh, use like a Days of Future Past framework with Skynet, kind of sort of.
Yeah, I might thought like Rogues in the future taking on, but like at the same time, it's the T-800 model 101, so you know what I mean. He's not really like a future Terminator. He always gets sent back.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll figure it out. So yeah, tune in for that next week, and make sure you vote as to who you think won, Superman or Pikachu.
Yes.
And the winner will go on, and we're getting closer and closer to our, I guess, season 1 Pitch Nerds champion.
Mm-hmm.
Then let's see what. Oh, so next up is
Behold Nerds. Yes. Take it away.
Okay, Behold Nerds is our book club of sorts. We take turns picking movies, books, comic books, and various other things. And we watch them in the week leading up. We encourage you guys to watch it. We decided to kind of, because you had never seen Blade Runner, we went Blade Runner, and then I don't think you've ever seen Blade Runner 2049.
No.
And so I said, I was really excited for this one.
Okay.
So we decided to continue with this one. And so last week was Blade Runner, this week Blade Runner 2049. What did you think?
So, I love this movie more than the first one, but for a while I was thinking it was too on the nose.
What do you mean?
So, I thought I had the movie figured out until they realized that they sort of revealed kind of a twist. Having watched it for the first time, I would describe it as, at least from what my interpretation of it is, that's Tom Hardy, right? Tom Hardy. Is that Tom Hardy? The main actor?
Who?
The main...
No, Ryan Gosling.
No, Ryan Gosling. Looks like Tom Hardy. Ryan Gosling. He has Jesus Christ.
Like Tom
I
Hardy.
don't
It looks
know.
like Ryan Gosling.
I don't know. I'm bad.
You're getting your actors confused, don't we?
I do that. Anyways, Ryan Gosling. Does he have Jesus Christ syndrome, where the whole time you're thinking that he's the son, and he ends up not being the son? It ends up being Jared Leto, and he's sort of left defeated at the end. Like,
Jared Leto's not the son.
I thought he was the son.
No.
Oh my goodness.
There is no son. Like, it's a girl.
Because okay. Yes, I knew that there was the girl, but I thought there was twins. But okay.
No, that was to cover up the records.
Okay, all right. Okay. God, okay. There's a lot to digest. No, I love it.
It's a dense movie.
It's a dense movie.
Yeah, so in the same way the first one was, this is arguably my favorite sci-fi movie of all time.
Okay.
That's why it surprised me you said on the nose. There's so much, like just like each scene, like everything is layered.
Yeah.
Like you okay. So for example, when he gets home and he's talking to Joy, right, and you can see like he's like, "Oh, how was your day?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm getting cabin fever." That's them trying to sell him the product to take her anywhere.
Right.
But you don't. It's done so seamless. I never caught that before. She didn't know he had it yet, and that's that manufacturer trying to be like, hey, we need to convince them to buy this other stuff.
Right.
So it's like, oh, buy the thing that can take her anywhere. So the program itself is designed to be like to do that, and then like at the same time you're like, you start going because I fell in love with Joy. Although I always think JOI. I've been on the internet long enough to know what that means.
I didn't catch. So I saw the spelling, but I didn't catch that until now. Okay.
but there is another one called like Boy.
Yeah.
That's the male version.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, or like, what's his name? Jared Leto. Like, no, like there's a whole part about this with the eyes being the window of the soul.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have like real eyes and
He's
stuff
got
like
the
that.
orange eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, does he not have a soul?
Right.
And but no, we find out though that so it also was a reverse of the first one, sort of,
Mm.
because in the first one we were wondering, wait, is Deckard one of these replicants?
Mm.
In this one we're going, wait, is he real?
Right.
And so it flipped the script, like being a mirror of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out that there's a child that was born.
Right.
We realize, like, okay, it's obviously the child of Deckard and Rachel from the first movie. And then it's like, well, if they're born, they're not products.
Right.
They have souls. They're real. They're alive.
Mm-hmm.
And then also when we look at just like that line when he's looking at the DNA and it's like, oh wow, that's like, you guys are just four numbers. She's like, I'm two ones and zeros. And it's like, yeah, we really are just code.
Mm-hmm.
How are we any different to her? And but then and then you're fuck, my heart broke when she died. And then
that was terrible. That was
but then terrible. Like at the end, and then the movie just freaking boots me in the stomach because I'm like, no, she was real. She had a soul. And then she's like, wow, you're cute. Like, and she calls him Joe, and you realize that was just all part of her programming. And I was like, no, not Joy. I mean, oh my god, this movie is so many emotional ups and downs. And then they're like, oh, you thought the child was you?
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, it was a girl. And you're just like, oh shit. And then you realize that the child of them was the girl that's like being kept in that thing, and she's the one that implants memories and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is why she cried. Fuck. And then also that one girl who's like, oh, I'm the best of them. She goes to see the police lady, and she's protecting her replicant, and she realizes, like, and that's why she attacks her so viciously.
Yeah,
because you can see it on her face. She realizes that the guy with Jared Leto's character would never do that for her. And I mean, like, that's what I mean. There's like subtext in every little word and line of this movie. Movies that are so much smarter than me. Oh my god, they're so good. I wish I could write to this level.
Right.
Fantastic movie. I dare say it, and I know this is sacrilege, better than the first.
Yeah, so I was going to say, this is better than the first. I actually feel like I feel like I can go back and rewatch this one right now.
Yeah.
But not the first one. Like, the first one, it felt like homework. This one feels like, okay, it's polished. Here's the world. Go. Here's the premise. Go.
Yeah, well, it takes place also, like, so we find out that one of the reasons they were able to bury the records on his daughters because they mentioned the blackout.
Because of the blackout, right?
Yeah, and then also, yeah, we find out that he said they took her to the orphanage, and then they did the whole. There's two, a boy and a girl, so like, which one is it? Even if you get that far.
See, I thought that there was twins, and that's what threw me off when the one
person
remember,
said that they said it's not possible. You can't have twins that are identical if one's a boy and one's a girl.
Right.
That's not a thing.
Right. Well, I just figured because they're replicants, and maybe there was something more to that.
I understand.
So that's sort of where but yeah, I knew for sure that the girl in the bubble who was immunocompromised, I knew for sure she was definitely one. And then, okay, so there's twins, cool, and he would be the twin. So, but yeah, so good.
Yeah, I didn't think that. I immediately was like, okay, that's them trying to like cover their tracks.
You're right.
And then the whole time you're going, well, is he the one because he had the memories? And then you're like, and then they're like, oh no, you thought it was you. Well, we all wish it was us.
Right.
And oh my god, can we just talk that scene? I have never seen a sci-fi scene. I don't normally like love scenes in movies because I just think like they're redundant. But that scene
where he has a three-way,
Joy like superimposes over the one girl.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most amazing shots I have ever seen in a film.
That was
I just cannot speak highly enough of this movie. It's like I said, arguably one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time. But yeah, anything else?
That was his threesome. Ha ha ha. No, that was beautifully shot, and I like how
I'm done with you. You can leave. I forget they had to like invent something just to make that work.
Yeah, interesting. No, I really, really, really like this movie. I liked it more than the first one. I'm just bad actors in their face. I knew that was Jared Leto, but anyways, I like.
I knew he wasn't I knew he wasn't a human though. Like I know that's what we're supposed to start thinking at first.
Right.
But even the first watching, as soon as Batista like freaking like wrestling like freaking boosh, and he was just like, I'm back up.
Right.
I was like, yeah, there's no way he would be a person if that was the case. A replicant and one built like Batista,
Right.
like freaking body slams you.
You're
You
done.
ain't getting up from that.
Right. Nope, we got a chatbot. Sorry, chatbot derailed my my train of thought. Blah, 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 blah. No, Harrison Ford was phenomenal. Her eyes were green, and then he just shoots her. God. So was Harrison Ford was a replicant then? Is that sort of what they alluded to?
They leave it open ended. We don't know.
Yeah, they leave it ambiguous enough, but the way he framed it was where they were hunting, or we were being hunted. It's like we because you're both replicants, or we because you're human, you got a replicant pregnant. So there's that layered.
Well, also remember she was a replicant, so and he was escaping with her.
Right.
So they could just be. Oh, I mean, if you went on the road with a convict,
right,
you would be hunted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but shut up and take my money. 8,000%. This is a great movie.
Oh, it's a brilliant film. I mean, there's again, it's one of those films like I noticed stuff. Like I said, the part with Joy going like, "Oh, I'm getting cabin fever." I never noticed that. And then like, also, it's like, was that also the corporation trying to be like, "Oh, let's see what happens when two of our like we'll put the AI Joy and we'll have her fall in love with this." Like, is that? You know, they have two of their artificial things falling in love with each other. Was that the corporation trying to see like what's possible, or was that just what happens? And then like we see again the whole thing with the eyes being the doorways to the soul. Did she have a soul because she had eyes? You know what I mean? And like,
so I noticed that when he went to the orphanage, all the kids had his same blue eyes. I noticed that. It's here. What else? What else was there?
I don't know, but Anna de Armas. Oh my God! God damn! Like,
I'm fresh off this, so I'm still unpacking everything because I rolled out of bed and I watched this, so it's just like it's processing.
Yeah, I watched it late
everything.
last night, and like I was like wanting to watch, but a friend of ours has hooked me up to that Elden Ring freaking drug. And so I've been playing, and then all of a sudden my parents were like, "Hey, we're in town," and so I've been hanging out with them all the time.
Yeah.
So like by the time I got halfway through the movie, I was like, I can't do that, so I had to like turn it off and then watch it the rest of it this morning. But it is a movie you can break down and analyze. Just individual scenes, individual lines. Like, is the dog real? I don't know. Ask the dog.
Ask the dog.
And like we see how rare wood is. Like he's like,
that was. I like that little scene. So this movie does a great thing where it world builds.
Yeah,
it does a really good job at world building. Anything that world build, they're. This is going to get into my rant, but I like how this world builds. It's great. Just little things of him. Just the scene where he's there and he's going over the photos and it shows the whorehouse and the lady comes up and says, "Oh, a guy in the green," and it just shows like the vending machines, how you just have a big wall of things and they just press a thing and it comes out. Just things like that. My brain loves shit like that. I like how.
And then you also have the like in the first one they mentioned. If you're not a cop, you're like you're nothing.
Yeah.
And that's because all of the wealthy people like went off
planet.
Oh, speaking of wood, you see how rich Jared Leto's character is.
Yeah.
Because everything in his place is made out of wood.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. So so then the cops are the only ones with flying cars.
Yeah.
Everybody else is like in the muck below. And so if you wanted to be above on Earth, you have to be a cop.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. And then, like I said, we see the replicant. She's pissed off because, Joe or Kay's replicant, like the person in charge of him, is protecting him. And she's not. and just and then her like being called Angel and stuff.
Yeah.
And then she's protecting him, like she's like fire, and like they're just getting rained down fire and stuff like that. And like I thought that was clever with the gun and the kite and the lightning strikes it.
Yeah, that was good. So I love that. So that right there. So San Diego is just like a dumping ground, I guess, for all the garbage, and
the greater Los Angeles area.
Yeah. And he's driving along in his space car, and he gets hit with like a harpoon. He flips a kite up and then gets hit by light. It was cool. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. And then they have like the Jaws of Life type thing where it just sticks to the thing and opens the thing. I love it.
Yeah, I wonder what were they like? What were they wanting the stuff in the car? Were they wanting him? And then like
I think they just wanted whatever that was. That's ours now. Like what was it? Thor Ragnarok. It was like that planet.
Yeah, the garbage planet.
Yeah, it was like that. It's the vibe it was giving me.
It was incredible. So shut up to take my money from me. You wanted to do a rant, so we got about 9
No,
minutes
hold
left.
on. Let's who's picking next? I've got one if you don't have one.
It's your turn.
Oh, so we're gonna go off track a little bit. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna watch Anger Management. It's one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies. This movie makes me feel alive again. I don't know why.
I said over easy.
Just the way Jack Nicholson plays this character in this movie, just it makes me.
I feel pretty.
Oh, so pretty. I feel pretty.
I used to own this movie, so I know it really well.
I love this movie.
I do think at some point it's out for rent now. We gotta see Crisis Part 3, because it's the final. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people loved it, some people didn't. But it is the final. So maybe this will be our pick the following week.
Right.
But it's the final acted scene with Connery and Hamill as Joker and Batman.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, my goodness, that time has come. I have a little rant. Now, I promise it's not going to be triggering, offensive, or poo-poo on anybody. This is just something that I need to say for everybody to hear, for the Forza followers. So...
we actually have like 50 or something.
Fuck yeah. So, everybody knows my thoughts and feelings on things, but I'm going to add a little bit of more nuance to things. I'm going to explain how my lens works when it comes to the viewership of a certain thing. If I could describe a certain property using one word, I would use the word inconsistent. From its conception, its creator
Star Wars.
From its creation, its creator was never satisfied with his product, so he started tinkering and tinkering and tinkering. So, if anything, this particular franchise has been nothing but inconsistent. Now,
actually, it's kind of interesting to just like parallel to that because we were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Blade Runner,
yes,
the first one,
yes,
tinkered. Mm-hmm. And then we had Blade Runner in the final cut.
Yeah.
And but what's interesting is that got better with each, one.
So I have seen a prequel. Now, this particular human going into the prequels, we had this conception of the Force. What is this Force? It is an energy field, blah, 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 this mystic juju, whatnot. But most importantly of all, who is my least favorite character in all of Star Wars? Say it with me. C-3PO. I hate C-3PO. He's my least favorite character of all of them. So, C-3PO at one point was 112 years old. So before the viewing of this prequel, C-3PO was 112 years old, or so he remembers. Now,
you can't be that old if he was built by a
no shit! Right! So, how is this droid that's supposed to be 112 years old? Now, he's a protocol droid. Protocol droids are things you can buy off the street. You can buy them from Jawas. It's a protocol droid. You don't need to build one, so why have this character build a C-3PO? It's stupid. It made no sense. It destroyed everything, because Vader would see this thing and be like, oh, that's my droid right there. Like, he would sense it. You would think that he would sense it. So, it's already starting to become inconsistent in my head. What's this goober doing with this thing? C-3PO's 112 years old. I'm mad.
And what canon though? I'll shut up.
Just shut up.
Because I'm already like breaking it all apart in my head.
Oh, good. So when it comes to the handlings of the Force, you had this preconceived notion that here's this energy field and this thing. Some bitch, because it's inconsistent, makes it no. It's about the bacteria in your flesh that determines your ability to use the Force. Not just, it was weird. You could say that the creator destroyed the Force. It was stupid. It was needless. It was shoehorned in.
Explain that better in Plagueis.
So, for somebody to turn that and say, you know what? Let's call it like something else. Here's this overarching like energy field that can be tapped in by some people, but maybe other people over here can tap into the same energy field, but maybe they refer to it as something different. Maybe to them it's a vape pen. Maybe it's this inanimate Trump alien keychain. But it's just this thing that they describe differently, but it's in the totality it's the same thing. They just have a different understanding of it. So that doesn't bother me so much as there's this fucking now it's about like microscopic bacteria. What the fuck are you doing, Lucas? What are you doing? You're destroying the thing that you created. So
to be clear, like the bacteria that's what allows the Force to be biological.
Oh, shut up! Shut up! I don't know. No! Shut up! It is an energy field that binds us. It's not about this crude matter.
That's all true, though.
Shush! You can't add that extra layer. No, you can't. Yeah, it's stupid. Yeah. So
I disagree, but whatever.
No, that's the point, Frosty. So anyway, so. This particular prequel was, I think, could have been better written. I think the actors were okay. Some of the there was the obnoxious CGI character. Holy shit, the obnoxious CGI character almost sucked me out. I didn't like the obnoxious CGI character, but there he was, big floppy ears and everything. You just had to put up with him. He was there for the kids. Remember, because it is for 12-year-olds. It came right out of the creator's mouth. It's for 12-year-olds. So out of this, and no. What this prequel did was give us one of the best action scenes in all of Star Wars. Holy shit. It gave us
Which one?
Right. Just shh, hold on. It gave us the fight. So, it gave us the Darth Maul fight, okay? Between fucking Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Darth Maul. Now, at the time you were complaining because early on it sets up the super speed. Why don't you use the super speed? Why does it sets up shit? But you know, people... It doesn't. There's no payoff for the super things that they do in this thing. So I'm mad because why do you set up super speed and have them do this, and all of a sudden now the high grounds don't matter. It's inconsistent. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't flow, but it's okay because it looked cool. There's no reason for it to be mad if they set up things in one thing and it doesn't necessarily. Well, why didn't they? If they could do this the whole time, why didn't they do this over here? It's stupid to get upset about. So. Holy shit, did it give us some of the best fucking fight scenes in all of fucking Star Wars, period. Holy shit, Ray Park did a thing, and then you thought, he had the high ground until he didn't. I guess he had like a stroke or something canonically. It was stupid, but it gave us this cool Force thing. So
I agree with that. It was dumb that he like flipped, landed, and was like,
yeah.
And then it's like,
right. But people have accepted it. And people have, like, R2 has rocket shoes? Like, when did his R2-D2 ever had rocket shoes? I feel like that could have paid off some other point at some other thing that's already been established at R2-D2 has fucking rocket foot. So,
there's certain things, though, like the thing we always talk about in Jurassic Park.
Right.
Where did the thing come from?
Right.
Like, you just kind of go, whatever.
So, for humans to be upset over... Oh, the Force is this now. Rabble. I feel like everything now we tied into the bigger point. Having watched a prequel, then rewatching another prequel, we have another prequel. Now everybody knows that Phantom Menace is my guilty pleasure movie of all time, period. I have such mixed feelings. It just stirs up so much of me, but there's still stuff in there that is really, 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 really enjoyable. But then there's other things that you sort of like, there's poo-poo jokes. and midi-chlorians now? Did that need to be there? That was stupid. He didn't need to be there. The kid has force powers. Just it's stupid. So, with that template in mind, having watched, let's call it like a prequel to the prequel, did you see the fucking fight scenes? Holy shit. Holy shit. Gave us some of the best. It's like somebody watched a prequel and said, I bet I can make a prequel. And they made a prequel. Now, our C-3PO's 112 years old. What do you mean that Darth Vader built C-3PO? That makes no fucking sense. That destroys the fucking mythos. Why? He's on Cloud City. He's supposed to be this brooding fucking... He should be able to sense his own fucking sweat and labor as a slave boy to build this thing to help his fucking mother. Ah! It's stupid! But people have accepted it. It's a thing for 12-year-olds. And the obnoxious fucking CGI thing, it checks every box. But there's so much good stuff about it. If you look at it, there's a lot to enjoy, and it doesn't do anything that hasn't already been done. So for the outrage now, it just... I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Did you see the fucking thing with the Wookiee beating up the shit out of the dudes? That was fucking cool as shit. Did you see how that was cool as shit? And then when the dude beat up the 30 people, and it was cool as shit? That was cool as shit. And then oh, dude, we got our first actual practical head tentacle. Did you see that? So, with the prequel to the prequel, it does this thing where the writing's choppy, but that's fine. It's Star Wars. Star Wars at this point is consistently about choppy writing. That's fine. Oh, the characters are blank. Yeah, that's Star Wars. It's Star Wars. If you look at the template, it's Star Wars. Oh, it's this now? Yeah, but it's constantly changed. It's in a state of fluidity, the Star Wars. So, in my head, Star Wars has always been diverse, so I can't look at it as anything. Oh, it's diverse. It's always been inconsistent, so it's like, okay, I accept that. The only thing the prequel of the prequel needed, I think would have benefited it most, was John Williams. I think because John Williams is the true storyteller and savior of Star Wars. You can put on his music and just listen to like all of the soundtrack to No Hope. It'll tell you the story. I think the prequel to the prequel could have used a little bit more polish, could have used a little bit of John Williams, but it felt like somebody had watched, it felt like somebody with the love of the prequels made a Star Wars, but followed the same template of, okay, there's going to be some flaws, there's going to be some but it's still Star Wars. Star Wars isn't consistent for people to complain, oh, about this and this. Dude, the bridge fight I thought was fucking fantastic between Chimere and fucking Saul. That was cool as fuck. That was cool as fucking fuck. The fight between the Wookiee and like the other Jedi. Yo, you got to see a Wookiee polishing just mopping the floor with Jedi. That was cool as fuck. The Trinity, the whole thing with the killing the witches with the... I thought that was stupid. But Star Wars has always been stupid to some degree. At least it wasn't a poo-poo joke. At least it wasn't the floppy-eared character stepping in poo-poo. Like, it's fine. So, as a totality of it, I give the prequel a shut up and take my money. But it's a different kind of shut up and take my money. You said Star Wars is like a pizza. You have to sort of rummage through the toppings to get to the better part. Some people like...
That's what you said.
Okay.
I said Star Wars is like a pizza because even when it's cold, it needs to be reheated, and it's the next day. It still tastes good.
Right,
it's
but it's still pizza. I mean, it's still piggybacking off the pizza analogy. So, I would grade the prequel as a shut up and take my money, but it comes with a little like, side note. There's some fine print on there. Is it masterful storytelling? No. Is it doing anything differently? No. Does it take what was already established by the guy who wrote the thing and changing it because the guy who wrote the thing changed the thing already? You want to know the biggest part that bothers me about the prequel? It ain't even the C-3PO. It's the line from between Luke and Leia from Return of the Jedi where Luke is asking Leia, do you remember your mother? And Leia's like, oh yeah, she was this and this and this, but also very sad. So going into the prequels, I'm thinking, okay, so we're going to see like them as maybe infants, maybe just younger, but because they have force powers, they have that memory. No, she was born, mother died, and yet somehow she retained all that memory, just that. And I guess it's the force, sensing, just being imprinted onto her. That emotion, I guess, is how they try to write it. But that didn't make sense to me. I accept the answer for it, but it doesn't make sense. I'm not happy with that answer. So it's always been inconsistent. So for people to scream that for people to scream, I say poo-poo on all of you. I hope that there is another season of the sequel to the sequel. I think if I were to be given a bag of money, I just give it some better writers. That's it. So it is a shut up and take my money, but with a little asterisk on it, with under the filter of the prequels. Which, yeah, does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, I disagree with like 90% of that. I loved it. I think the writing's fantastic, and I'm sick of everybody calling me an asshole because I like it. I don't actually ever want to talk Star Wars again because of basically people.
Oh.
So it's kind of the fans ruined it for me.
And that's kind of a shame because it having watched it in its totality, because the show deserves to be watched in its entirety. And
so I like the weekly method for the same reason I liked it with other shows like X-Men 97. I think I like to go and sit down and watch.
Have some breathing.
Each episode was like 45 minutes roughly. I think there was one which was 35. I thought they were only 22 minutes because they seemed to go like that. But I used to think like Batman the Animated Series must have been only like 10 minutes long for the same thing. It felt like it was just over so fast.
Yeah.
But then I went and looked at the count, and they're like 43 minutes, 42 minutes, and then
there's
the shortest one is 35.
About 10 minutes of that is credits. But
is that? I thought this was actual runtime. I'll have to look it up again. But they're longer than I gave them credit.
There's a lot of credit, but either way, that's not. Sort of the same thing with Master of the Universe, right? Like,
that too.
Right. I just feel like had everything just been presented at once and let everybody just view it in its entirety and then have the discussion, I think it would be fine. Instead, it's just string it out. So one of the things I do. So really,
hang on. I think that's a different comparison because I think the problem with you're talking season 1 presumably.
Yeah.
The problem with season 1 was they released the first half weeks, maybe months later. It was like we got part 2.
Yeah.
So that's not wait a week. That I hate it when they do that. I hated it when they did that with Invincible.
Yeah.
That is terrible. That is not what I'm talking about.
Walking Dead did it. No. I know that's not what you're talking about, but just I think as far as like the story in itself, I think it would have been more beneficial had it all been dropped all at once. Because same thing with Masters of the Universe, where you got the half, everybody was upset, and then the second half dropped, and it's like, okay, that wasn't bad.
Okay, yeah, you're right. They're about 30 minutes.
So, but either way, if you haven't done it already, rewatch it in its entirety. Just binge it, and it's a lot better. It flows better. The action is second to none, and so the thing with Star Wars is that Star Wars has always been innovative when it comes to I'm a human, I want to tell a story this way. How do I do that? In this one, we brought it back to more of its oh my goodness, like the martial arts style, just the.
No, they did a kung fu influence.
Yeah, so it was kung fu influence. And we got some of the best, probably the best fighting in all of Star Wars, period, since the prequels.
Yeah, I saw talking about how they were amazed that because the reason lightsabers were swinging so much faster in the prequels than the Acolyte was because they were using the thin sticks. But then, like in the sequels and stuff, their faces were being illuminated by them, which you couldn't do in the and they're like, oh, but it means they're swinging them slower because. The lightsabers do weigh something, or they have the appearance of weight.
So, what I do like is the world building. It does do a good job at world building, and again, one of the dumb little things that my brain just like is Star Wars is all about the head tentacles, right? Like everybody has to have a head tentacle. It's just the thing. It started with the Twi'lek, and then it became everything else. Everybody's got a head tentacle, but they don't serve any purpose. They're just there. We actually got to see a practical head tentacle. I thought that was cool.
Right, I thought you're talking from the
from Acolyte.
which race?
So I don't know what race it is. So, well, you have the Twi'lek.
Those ones, what are they called? You know what it's called.
You have the Twi'lek, the Twi'lek.
Yeah,
but then you have
those are like sensory.
right, and then,
right?
but then you have whatever Ahsoka is. But well, they're just so. In the breakout scene from the first episode, there's the dude who's like, Jedi killer, blah, blah, blah. He has a tentacle, and he like grabs his chick, and like, that's cool. Like, we see a practical head tentacle. Bravo, that's cool. I mean, come on, it's stupid and it's brief. Some of the best things on Star Wars are the brief moments, and I think that's sort of what's escaped everybody. Is, and I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. There's a whole legion of people that's only getting bigger of a Wilbur Hood, and it's just you buy yourself an ice cream maker and an orange jumpsuit, and you just march through convention centers. That's fun. It's these brief characters that are cool. And in this show, that was the one that sort of stood out as, hey, that's cool.
Let me throw out an analogy for my experience with this show. I got 2 points to make.
Right.
A, I'm constantly being told the writing's bad, but half the time when people point out the writing's bad, it's like they're like, what's that guy's name? Kyle Mandui or whatever? The guy that was in the one that they said that the Sith had been extinct for a millennia.
Oh, Keanu Moody?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So people were like, oh, his age is wrong. And I'm like, well, that's Legends canon.
No,
so
his age is fucking wrong. He's 112 years old. He wasn't built by Darth fucking Vader. That makes no fucking sense.
All right. Well, my point is when I actually looked this up, there's 3 distinct canons within Star Wars. There's Lucas's canon.
Yeah.
There's the stuff that Lucas licensed to, but he didn't necessarily even read,
right?
Which is a lot of the Legends stuff. And then there's the Disney canon.
Right.
So what's in Legends isn't necessarily what's in Disney, and what's in Legend, and Disney and Legends aren't necessarily in that. So there's 3 canons. I'm fine with that. I'm a Marvel guy, DC guy.
Yeah.
Believe me, there's a bazillion canons in those. I think once you get to a certain size, you're just going to have inconsistencies. I accept that.
Right.
And especially when they say there's flat out 3 different canons, I'm like, okay.
Right.
So, but people are bitching about that, and immediately I go, oh, and people are like, why do they even use them? That's stupid. I'm like, well, they used them because everybody's going to die. And this is never going to get reported back to the Jedi Council. That was the whole thing. And then I was right. And then stuff like that kept being,
No, I was going to agree with you. I was actually going to add to that.
But I kept seeing stuff where people kept saying the writing's bad because this, and I go, well, that's because of this. And it's like nobody else saw it, and then I'm like, I know I'm right, and then it turns out I'm right. And so I keep being told the writing's bad. I don't think the writing's bad. I'm actually really impressed by the writing. Then I forget. Oh, but the thing I kept getting, like a lot of people, I compare it to this. Let's say there's a burger company, right? Mm-hmm. Then burger conglomerate, and the burger conglomerate gets bought out by someone. And I'm not even saying this is factual or not. I'm just saying this is an argument that's often being thrown by people online and everything. But so let's say this burger conglomerate is like, they start going like, hey, you know what? The 4th of July and burgers and everything, that is that's racist and all this, and we're doing it. And you know what? Our company is only now gonna hire people that are LGBTQ and minorities, and we're gonna do that. And I'm not even saying that's the case in this. I'm just saying that's an argument that a lot of people have thrown at me with this. Mm-hmm. And so let's just assume this is factual. So this burger company goes, okay, so the head of the burger company, they're like, I'm going to hire someone of a certain type to run my show. I'm going to hire someone to do this. And everybody's yelling about all this. And then I'm like, hey, can I try a burger? And they're like, sure, here you go. And I'm like, damn, that's a fucking good burger. I don't care about any of that because the person that made it made me a good burger. And that's where I come down to. It's like, I always come down to what is the final thing. Did I like the cheeseburger or didn't I like the cheeseburger? In this case, I like the cheeseburger. I don't like all their cheeseburgers. There's been some of their animated cheeseburgers I thought were not that great. Yeah. There's been some video game cheeseburgers that I was like, man, I could pass on that.
Right.
So that's my thought. But the main thing I'm sick of is, like, I really enjoyed Ahsoka, right? And I remember leaving a comment being like, Ahsoka was great. And then, like, it was just like the world attacked me. And then I'm like, and they're like, why this, why this, why this, and they're trying to actively prove why it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just giving them obvious answers in my head for reasons why stuff is the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, look at the mental gymnastics you have to do. What mental gymnastics? Like, I didn't, like, these are obvious, like, and then I point out, yeah, okay, there are some stuff that doesn't make sense, but I was bringing it back to Jurassic Park as a perfect movie, or as close to perfect as you can get. There's shit in
that doesn't
Jurassic
make
Park
sense.
that makes zero sense.
Right, but see, Star Wars has always been inconsistent. That is the one
But
word.
all things are.
Right, but that is the one word I will. I'm choosing forever to use it. And I know other things are inconsistent, but to address the totality of the rabble, Star Wars has always, always, always been inconsistent. It started with the man himself. And that's it.
I think though people decide, and this happens a lot nowadays, they decide that they don't like something, and then they try and they do it with other, or you see it in other things like, I don't believe climate change. I don't want to get too political, and they're approaching it from that stance.
Mm.
And I'll give you an example. The youngling who we saw in the background, I was like, "Hey, you want to try spinach?" And she was like, "No." And I convinced her to try it, but she decided ahead of time that it was bad. And then she takes the teeniest little bite possible, and blah, blah, blah. And that's what I see a lot of this stuff. If you give it a fair chance, you didn't like it, fair enough. And then, like, I'm not gonna name names, but someone was really upset that, like, Plagueis was in the episode because they're a big fan of the novel. Hey, I thought that was super interesting that I just happened to be reading Darth Plagueis, and I'm like, this is a lot like that book. I'm like, why is it so much like that book? And then I read an interview from her, and she's like, that was my favorite book. And I'm like, oh, okay. But then, like, they're upset that Darth Plagueis appeared. I'm like, he didn't really do anything. He was just there. We don't even know why he was there.
So,
was he there to kill Chimere, or was he there to because he wanted to bring Chimere in? We don't know.
How I would handle this if I were to be given the keys to make an acolyte thing, or at least let's just call it a theory. Fuck it, let's workshop this. I would have treated Ocean May as, and it could very well be that if we get a season 2, which I kind of hope we do, because they set up a lot, and I wish they would have closed out a lot of, or paid off some things that they had set up, instead of relying too much on a season 2 that may or may not happen at this point.
They weren't even planning a season 2.
Really? Because there's been
The plan was one and done, and then she said, then the people were like, "There's a petition going around for a season 2," and then when that started happening, they asked her, "Would she do it?" She said, "Yeah, totally. I have an idea already." So, but it wasn't planned to have a season 2. This wasn't like, hey, let's renew it or not. This is, let's make a show. If it works, maybe, but it's pretty much meant to just be a one and done.
Okay. Well, Plagueis. So I would have treated. Go ahead.
Well, I do have a flat out question, because I saw outrage over Plagueis and then I heard this. It's not their character to use. Like, they should have gotten approval like they did with Thrawn and things like that. But, like, I kind of thought, and maybe I'm wrong, but does Star Wars not function like Marvel, where, like, I create, I don't know, a new character, Wolverine, or whoever. I know the guy didn't get paid for Wolverine, so maybe that's a bad example. Yeah. But I create a character within the canon of Marvel. I mean, I accept other people are going to write that character. Yeah. Like, because it's within... I thought that's how Star Wars worked. Like, and also, because I forget his name, John... Is it Lucino, the guy who wrote Plagueis? I understand that, like... Yeah, I mean, people think that his book is the best version of the character. But, I mean... He was mentioned elsewhere. Like, because he was mentioned in the prequels, because, like... Sidious was like, oh, have you ever heard of Darth Plagueis the Wise? You know what I mean? Right. So, I mean, yeah, he flushed him out and gave him the race and all that kind of stuff. He made him a Mun,
Yeah.
and then he was like, well, he comes from this planet
Hmm?
and stuff like that. I don't know. I never once considered that as a thing where I create a character in Legends, and it's bad for other people to use it. I don't know. I assumed it worked like Marvel and DC. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well,
Maybe
maybe
they
it
should have
is.
asked for
So
something.
maybe that's how it is now because Star Wars is under new management now, so they could be treating it
But
as
even
such. No.
then, it's got such a massive
Well,
Star Wars. New management or not is bigger than it's kind of like the Marvel universe. It's so large.
mm-hmm.
The characters are gonna overlap and be taken on by different writers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
guess I
we've
always
seen
thought
that before. Other people have written for Han Solo. Other people have written.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it depends
Are
on
you
who's.
supposed to ask permission every time?
So it would depend on where, as a studio head, where you want the direction to go, right? Like if there's like a Feige at the helm, if Feige had an endpoint, let's do
They could
Thanos.
use a fight. Yeah, I agree with that.
So let's have a North Star, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
I don't think they have one of those.
No,
I think that is a problem.
and I think because John Campia did. I listen to a lot of John Campia. I like him. John Campia did a thing. Game Theory or Film Theory did a thing because I've been really soaking up a lot of the all of it because I'll listen to the other side because I'm entertained by it. I don't agree with them. It's fun to me. It's just garbage white noise to me. I like it's just interesting. So, so the way I look at it is it's a lens, and it's so just the outrage. It angers me. It'd be interesting to see if in another universe, Episode 1, Phantom Menace dropped, to see what the outrage would be like. Because
they included. By the way, I know you don't like metachlorians. They did mention they changed them to M count.
yeah,
In this,
yeah. Which that's their way of dealing with that.
I guess so. I didn't like midichlorians the first time, and then what changed my mind was reading Darth Plagueis.
So here's the thing. I don't really care, but that was my brain couldn't figure it out because George, you had all this stuff to pull from George, but we didn't know back then that he didn't give a shit about the extended universe stuff that had already come out. I have books in my shelf right now that say C-3PO is about 200 years old, how Owen Lars is the biological brother of Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's a lot of mythos that is just George Lucas himself overwrote. Boba Fett was essentially like a space cop named Jaster Morrell, who...
I mean, real fast though, put yourself. Let's say, I mean, I guess it depends on how much. If I created something,
Yeah.
right? I created a world. I've written some stuff. Let's say something takes off, and people like it, and then people are like, "Hey, we want to write books and comics and stuff."
Right.
And it's so popular that I've got all these people like, "We can really make some money here."
That's the dream.
And then I'm like, okay. I mean, my choices are: don't allow it, allow it, and meticulously oversee everything so it fits my vision, or just go nuts.
So I think I don't think it needs to be that meticulous. I mean, depends on how hard you want to go. You have a universe, set the rules to the universe, tell your story. Like it should be that.
You know what I mean? So someone writes. So let's say I've talked about it before. I wrote The Breath of Steel. So let's say I created that got made into a film, and I was overseeing the creative. Or let's just use the book.
Yeah.
So I create a book, and then someone says, "Hey, we want to make a movie based on your book," and they say, "Okay, go for it."
Yep.
And I explain to them the kind of overarching things, and then let's say they take characters to well. In our movie, Malice and Vincent are lovers. Well, they're not. And then they have a kid, and their kid does this, and you're my main vampire, Michael. In my head, he's I don't bring it up, but he was once a warrior of God, kind of like a paladin essentially. And they change it. No, they make him a villain and all this kind of stuff. I mean, if I ever want to write another book, I'm not going to listen to any of that crap. I don't care who loves it. I'm going to go back to what's in my head.
So,
But I will gladly take your money, because I have always said this. I am a sellout. I just have nothing to sell out to. Give me something, and I will sell the shit out of it.
so I think.
I don't know. I just
So
I get
you know what?
Lucas
It
you said
depends.
you held the card and said it's old. But if Lucas is like, no, he should have been made by. It sounds like a lot of it too. Lucas has changed, which also I get, because I have an idea of like a second book,
Right.
but like until I actually write it,
Right.
it's gonna change.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
So a lot of stuff in Quantum has changed from its infancy, and
Oh man, I've been working on that sword for Quantum. I've got so many ideas.
I really like the
like,
sword, dude. Like,
I know, but like I've got of like an ego planet, and like it exists in it's able to perceive time differently to us, like past, present, and future.
Okay.
And so it allows, I guess, me, Frosty,
Yeah.
to like mine some of its ore to make the blade. And so when you draw the blade, and it then like maybe there's like a circuitry in the blade in my head, and then it allows me to perceive word. I don't know if you know what that means, but it's a Norse mythology thing.
What is
And
that?
because it deals with past, present, and future, and so that's why you can't always have it drawn.
Right.
And then I was thinking, like, what's better than? So it's like it uses that whole similar thing in magnetic field, but I was thinking it could actually go beyond a molecule thick. You could have it extend, because it's not a physical thing, down into where when you cut, I don't know if it would make explosions around you. I gotta look this up. But what would happen if you sliced an atom in half? You know what I mean?
If it would explode. So I actually have all the answers to that. I thought of all of this.
Well, anyway, but I mean, you said create your own
Right. So
thing, but
So,
the
going back to what you said, so do you have a Feige at the helm? Because how do you want to tell? As a human, Feige had a story he wanted to tell. He had an army of people. You can make your movie, but here are the little plot points that you need to follow in order for it to sort of vibe with everything else. Here's just some.
I know, and see, even with Feige though, like we just saw, RDJ is Doom. That doesn't make any sense. Rebel, because people that read comics are going, well, he's not Doom. You know what I mean? And same with a lot of the stuff. It's like, for me, I'm a huge Thor fan. Thor's mom's not Frigga; it's Jord.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, this is, and I mean, I'll admit it. I'm the whole time I'm watching it, I'm going like, where's Jord? Why is it Frigga? And then they made a big deal about his mom. And I remember you didn't even like, because you're not as big of a Thor fan as me, and so you were like, I mentioned to you once how badass Thor's mom is, like how powerful she is, and then you thought I was annoyed that she died in the movie, like, and I was like, oh, but that's not his mom.
Yeah.
And like, and that's what I mean. So I guess I don't really have a problem with that. That he goes, that there's a second canon, and then Lucas then just goes, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because I think that happens anytime a property reaches a certain mass.
Right. But see, it's all about who's at the helm, right?
I do have one thing though, because maybe you know the answer to this. Because fellow nerd Joe's big Star Wars, and we got into we got into the debate. I think it's the stupidest thing ever, using a lightsaber staff, a double-sided lightsaber, and a single-handed lightsaber in a fight.
Yeah.
Because if I knock this, I've just sliced you in half.
Yeah.
He's like adamant that that's impossible. I've gotten into the physics and everything, but he disagrees, which is fine. I have fun discussing those things.
Remember, they're space wizards. At the end of the day, it's not a sci-fi. They're space wizards. So you have to.
I know.
So the one part, like, your voice popped in my head during the Wookiee fight with the acolyte. Because here I am. It's a cool fucking fight. This Wookiee is beating the shit, and like you feel every hit. Like you get to see the power.
Yeah, they were trying to make it. They said that it needed to feel like each hit like a truck.
Right, and you feel that, and I'm like, holy shit, this is cool as fuck. Holy shit, oh shit. But then when Homeboy is pinned up against the wall and he has the hilt down, saber pointed down, and he's holding the blade. That's a weak grip. So my brain was like, oh, okay, that's whatever. But you know what else is
When
whatever?
he was holding the blade down?
No, so when he was up against the wall, being held by the throat, and he had his blade saber pointed down, and he was holding the...
Oh, reverse grip.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't want
reverse-
to do reverse grip.
Yeah, so he was holding the Wookiee strength like this. Now, I saw that and like, wow, that's kind of stupid. You know what else is stupid? That time that Darth Maul had the high ground, and he was lording over it, and somehow Obi-Wan went... whoop, and managed to do a thing.
Yeah.
It's the same lens in my head. So I can view the same absurd things in Star Wars and be like, oh yeah, that's already happened, so I can't get mad at it.
No, but
that
I
make
do have
sense?
a question though. This is because fellow nerd Joe keeps mentioning this to me, and I can't see why it's advantageous. But people argue that it is. But he said like the idea of turning off your lightsaber and then turning it back on is considered like not cool by both the dark and the light side.
Now I'm going
Because
I'm going to interject. There was a point where wielding two lightsabers at the same time was considered offensive, or not offensive. It was just something you couldn't do. It was dishonorable. Because wielding two, yeah.
Well, that kind of makes sense to me though, because because of they're so hard to use.
Yeah.
You're having to split your force focus into two weapons.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
So like I could see why there's an advantage. That makes sense. But so he's like saying, yeah, they don't do it because even though it'd be good because you could like someone goes to block and you turn it off and then turn it on the other side of the blade. But lightsabers don't turn on and off that fast.
No.
They go
Right.
and so if you go, I'm just like, well, it's turning up. You know, like I don't get why that's a. Are they supposed to be instant, but like they slow it down for us?
Well, there was in that really badass fight with Chimera when he's just murdering the shit out of everybody. He killed Jackie. God damn it, I kind of like Jackie. Jackie, fuck Yord. Yord was whatever. I really like.
Is she the one that got hole punched?
Yeah. God damn it.
Yeah, she's my favorite character.
Boom, boom,
in the
boom.
show.
Just really quick. I like Jackie. She was your
Yeah,
favorite
but I
too?
like that she died because, like, I knew that was going to happen. Like I said,
Yeah.
as soon as they brought in that Kyle Amundi guy or whatever his name is,
Moody.
the guy that said this Sith hasn't been seen in a millennia, I was like, and then they're like, don't tell this to the Jedi Council, like to the High Council. I was like, oh, so nobody's going to find out about this mission. That's why they can introduce Sith.
So here's the thing. So I really want to talk about this because the whole Ki-Adi-Mundi thing. I understand why people are upset by it, but
I don't.
I mean, I can get it. I don't want to explain it, but I can get it. I'm not saying I'm upset by it. I'm just saying I can get it. C-3PO is 112 years old. It's the same type of thinking. I get it. So.
But doesn't it go back to like Thor's mom should be Yord?
Well, right, but at the same time, and people have not mentioned this, and I'm weird. They show Ki-Adi-Mundi, and then they also show Plo Koon. Plo Koon, a person that looks Plo Koon-esque, is there next to Ki-Adi-Mundi. Now, Plo Koon was like third tier canonical, if you're using the tiered system that you mentioned earlier. Because there's what's Lucas, then there's the books, then there's the comics, and then there's like the ROMs to like games and shit. I think is the succession. So
yeah, I kind of fold that all into stuff that he said. Okay, make.
Yeah. So after that fight in the woods, they show what appears to be that same Plo Koon character dead. Now. They could have fixed all of this. This couldn't even have been an issue had they just not. Don't call him Ki-Adi-Mundi. Just have it be another like a similar. Maybe that was his father because their species is cool because they. I think Ki-Adi-Mundi originally has like 7 wives or something because their planet has like population control. They need to repopulate. So he actually is like a father to like dozens of children. Has a bunch of wives. So when I saw Ki-Adi-Mundi there. I didn't see him as Ki-Adi-Mundi. I also saw Plo Koon. So I don't know. I feel like they could have just not used his name, and it would have been just fine. Because in my head, in the same scene, they killed Plo Koon. Does that make sense? I don't know.
I guess I think the reason they used him was for that famous line.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you see him, everybody went, "The Jedi the Sith have been extinct for a millennia."
Right.
And again, it set up what was going to happen next.
Right.
I was waiting for, and I think I even mentioned it.
Yeah, you did.
In the group chat, you and fellow nerd Adrian were like, he was like, "Why do they even use him?" And he's probably, and I'm like, "Use him for that line. They're all going to die."
So,
and then the next episode came out, and they murdered the shit out of everybody.
Right. So,
and I was like, it's foreshadowing. That's what I mean. That's why I like. That's why I think the writing is good, despite the other thing that really annoys me. Well, we're just shitting on nerd culture, or not nerd, but I get annoyed. There's this like bar for entry, and some people don't think that I am qualified, and it's like, what are you talking about? I know I could recite the first 3 movies line for line. I've played a billion video games.
Right.
I have several of the comics. I've seen every movie, most shows, most cartoons, every live action show,
including the Ewok Adventure. Damn it!
I know Star Wars as well as I have seen Ewok Adventure.
Yeah.
That's my point. I know it. To assume that I'm not it's just because I didn't read a lot of Legends. You know what I mean? Like I'm annoyed by it.
So
no, I mean no. I like that. It's like people do that with D&D. They're like, oh, if you didn't play a D&D and 2nd edition, but you've only played 5th edition. No, I'm sorry. Once you played like 100 hours of D&D, you know just as much as like, yeah, okay, maybe you haven't read lore like I have,
right?
But you still can weigh in on this shit,
right?
You know, like,
yeah.
I get annoyed by that like you don't qualify. There's something that it really makes. There's so many times since we started the show where I've thought, you know what, I'm out, because what used to just be like, oh my God, and I hate that. You know what I mean? Like you go back and you like me and you talking, you know, oh God, what was that first one? The one with Vision, you know, like WandaVision.
Yep.
Like we were that was so much fun.
That was such a good show.
And that's what I just. And then it's like, oh, wasn't WandaVision good? No, you're stupid and I hate you. I can't believe you like that. You're ruining Marvel. And it's like. And you know what? I'm gonna pull that move. You don't know Marvel. You know, I've been reading it since the 80s. Right. You know, like if you think any of this is new, I mean, shit. Like people did the same thing back then, and they were like, "Oh, this is wrong." You know what I mean? And like people get mad because like, I can't believe they made so and so a girl. I'm like, well, yeah. How many versions of a character? You know, like. Are there? You know, it's like, oh, I can't believe Vigilante's the way Vigilante is in Peacemaker. He's not the real Vigilante. So there's like 8 Vigilantes. So remember Vigilante in the Justice League cartoon? He was a guy on a motorcycle that was a cowboy.
So it's not a spoiler because it's in the trailer, but they introduce the Deadpool Corps in Deadpool, and it sort of addresses everything that you're talking about. And you know the comics, so you know the Deadpool Corps. Headpool, you see the silhouette of him, so he's in it. Not a fan of how they animated him. I don't like how he looked, but you know it's Deadpool. Yeah, it's Deadpool.
It's just there's this idea that like it's not the correct version, therefore it's bad. But just like who cares?
Deadpool does a really good. Deadpool does a really good job at handling that. It handles it without saying it out loud. Like if you tune your brain to that channel and realize, oh, I see what you're doing.
It's like Super Killers and I were talking about Venom, and he really hated Venom, and I was like, back in the miniseries days of Venom, I loved Venom. That was the comic I went and bought each week. Sinner Takes All, the best one, by the way. But I'm watching Venom with my ex-girlfriend, and she is cracking up She absolutely loved the Venom movie. She
Mhm.
thinks it's hilarious. I don't want to turn to her and go, "No, you're stupid, and I hate you because you like that."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's great, awesome. My
Yeah.
hope is that maybe you'll pick up a comic book now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like another one was my favorite novel of all time is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Mhm.
Look, I get it. I sat through the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the movie,
Mhm.
and I was like, "What is this?
Right.
What is this? What Trisha? Why Trisha's just Trillion?" And she doesn't have a relationship with Arthur, and I'm just like, this is stupid as hell. But then, like, a lot of people love that movie.
Mm.
You know, so like, cool. Like, check out the book. You know, check out the original, because I don't know if you know this. Hitchhiker's Guide was originally a radio show.
Was it?
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
was
know
a
that.
radio show, then the novel, then it was everything else. But yeah, so like that would be cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and we've talked about this before, but I guess I've adopted the. So funny we're talking this because Super Killers and I had like the longest rant ever. I definitely, maybe it's because of my health problems. I'd much rather like, and so I kind of see the world the same way as him. I don't know, but I agree with Kevin Smith. Why sit there and focus on what I hate?
Yeah.
I'll tell you all day about what I love. I have no interest in talking about what I hate.
Because the internet has empowered people to be dicks.
No, it's
Yeah, like-
but see, people seem to, and this is the problem in kind of nerd culture is like the shows that do well are shows like Quartering and things like that, where all they're gonna do is bitch and complain the whole time.
So the favorite, one of the favorite things that's happened in recent history, just saying it out loud, is what happened with Velma, where there was a show that I tried to watch it. I think I got 3 episodes in. It's just a less funny Harley. It's not funny.
I never saw it.
Like it's the opening scene is uncomfortable because it's high school girls fighting in a high school shower, but they're in high school and they're teen. It was awkward. Like, what's the joke? It was just very. But people watched it. People hate watched it, and because people hate watched it, because corporation at the top only sees the numbers and the charts. They don't care about the opinions.
Well, actually, now a lot of time they actually try and get you to. They release stuff that they know is going to piss people off,
Right.
Because, and that might have even been an example.
Right.
Of it.
Right.
Like,
So.
how much can we piss people off?
Right. So because of that, because people hate watch this thing, we got a season 2. And I'm not sure what the numbers were for season 2. So I'm at the frame of mind now where I will watch something, and I'll watch it until I lose interest, and hopefully it doesn't lose my interest. Sadly, Ahsoka lost my interest. I'm not going to hate on it. I try to get into it, and that's it. I moved on. I'm not hating anybody who watched it. Acolyte, man.
Ahsoka, I felt like had the same problem that another Star Wars show I really liked, Andor. Because I was talking to fellow nerd Joe, and he was like, "Well, I tried to watch it. It didn't do anything for me in the first 3 episodes."
Right.
And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a slow burn. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I could totally see." And then I think Ahsoka, it was like the first few episodes, you're kind of like going, "Hey." And then, like, once they get the space whales and they go into the other galaxy,
Yeah.
and then like, oh, I really liked it. Some people didn't like Sabine. I liked Sabine. But yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed Ahsoka. But the thing is, if you don't enjoy it, again, fine. But like, don't yell at
So
someone
you know
for
what?
liking it.
Here's what the thing I like most about Andor is that it gave us a different look at the universe and how it functioned. We got to see like the minutia end of things. We got to see like on the ground level of how the universe worked. The prequel sort of does the same thing, but I think Andor did it better, where it's just sort of showing how this branch of the universe works. Oh shit, we got this thing going on. Well shit, we got to make sure this doesn't get back to the council. We got to, cover this up. And so everybody was too busy hating on it, and I think it was missed, but hopefully you caught it. Who was Vanessa talking to at the end? Because she was talking to somebody, and it was just via message. And you hear somebody's voice I think she's working. She might be working with play.
Then she sees Yoda.
No. At the end, she sees Yoda. No, not that. But she's having a conversation with somebody, and I'm not sure if it was.
They probably. I don't remember. They probably left it to be ambiguous.
So she was talking to somebody. I think the Weasel character, the CGI character, I think he's in. I think he's a bad guy. I think he's
Really?
a bad. I don't know. I think so. I don't know why he sabotaged the ship. Just
Because the what's his name was definitely going off of Jedi protocols and stuff like that.
was he going to kill her though?
Yeah, because he was
So I thought he was going to pull her into a tractor beam or something. I wasn't getting the kill on sight impression from him.
yeah, I don't know
So-
if that's, but I see like why he was like chasing her down and stuff.
That was
And,
okay.
like-
So pause. I love that scene when they're flying through the ring. That was cool as fuck. Like you just hearing the sound of the pellets hitting the ship and everything. Sounded like it was flying through a hailstorm. That was cool. Can't we just stop and appreciate that fine moment of new Star Wars? That was savory and delicious. That was delicious.
Like I said, I liked the show. I actually thought the writing was good. I think, I mean, this is the second thing I've seen by the creator Leslie Edmund. And I liked her. I forget what it was called. Russian doll.
Russian doll.
Yeah, I like that movie. So yeah, I mean, I've only, it's like I try and look at each person's thing. Also, I do approach things from like a art school kind of mentality. You know what I mean? And no, I have been in some critiques where you look at what someone's done and you're just. I remember being in one, and the girl put up her piece, and it did not fit the parameters of the assignment. It was not good. And then the professor's like, "What do you think?" It to me, and I was like, "I got to be the one." And I did the Stewie's compliment sandwich.
The shit sandwich. Start with the good.
Yeah.
Get the filler. Then the most important part is closing the sandwich. If you keep an open-faced sandwich, that shit will haunt you for years. Close the sandwich.
I would argue pizza's an open-faced sandwich, but yeah, you have smelly dog farts.
Yeah.
No, but I led in with, there was a couple elements I thought were good, and then I was like, but I don't see how it fits the parameters of the assignment, and then I finished with like, but nice color choices. One of our friends, Jeff, he said a good word to use is interesting.
Interesting
What do you
choice
think
of
the
this.
logo? Interesting.
Unique.
Yeah.
That's funny.
A friend of mine, he showed me a logo for his company. I was just like, oh, that's not a logo. But he was so proud of it. I was just like, I asked him, what do I say? And he said, use the word interesting. I was like, okay. Anyway, we've gone on way over time.
Anyways, that is my 5-minute rant about the prequel, and the prequel, and that other prequel.
We never have to talk Star Wars again.
Like, who takes C-3PO, who everybody hates, and have him be built by Darth fucking Vader? Who does that? Wait, Joe, doesn't Watto have one? You built a pod racer? There's not like a fucking, take one of those droids that's there and just fucking, here's a robot, Mom. He could have been...
Isn't he 4?
He built a fucking thing out of garbage. Like, he's got crap everywhere. Just don't have 3PO be built by the bad guy. That's weird. He was there the whole time.
No, I mean, I agree with you that it was a weird choice.
That was a
3PO.
stupid choice.
I didn't hate 3PO, though.
Oh, I hate 3PO is my least favorite character in Star Wars. But, I mean, he's meant to be that character. Like, that.
He's meant to be hated? I don't know. I just thought he's the one that, was... Like, what? I don't know what the term for that type of character is, but yeah, he was alright. I would say I liked him the least in the sequels, because I thought that whole thing of him like, I can't tell you, and I was like, okay, whatever.
Right, because he was built by the slave boy who ends up being the bad guy. That's why he had all the shit in his system, because he's built by the slave boy. It all makes sense. It's like poetry.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot.
It rhymes.
Yeah, I didn't hate him in the first one. I didn't even hate him in the prequels.
I've never
I
liked
really
Secret
only hated him in the sequels when they established that thing where they were like, "You have to tell us," and then he was like, "I can't. It's not in my programming."
Right.
And then like they had that moment where it looked like he was dying, and I was like, "Oh," and then they're like, "Yeah, but I'm back now."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, what the hell was the point in that?" Like,
Yeah.
I often say this to you. I actually, as far as movies are concerned, Prime movies. I'm not talking to the other ones.
Right.
I only think there's 2.5 good ones.
Well, you are wrong.
Okay.
All the wrong. You're all the wrong. Yo, the Battle of Endor up until Rogue One, a Disney product, did we not have that cool of a battle in the Star Wars? It took a Rogue
little
One to
teddy
give
bears.
us something cool.
Little
But
teddy
see,
bears.
you feel for the teddy. I felt more for the teddy bears than I did the CGI monsters in the prequels.
If you listen to Cap talk about Halo, he talks about how he was really pumped for it until the grunts showed up. I'm watching Star Wars: Return of the Jedi as a child, really pumped for it. Opening, they rescue Han. We got to see Luke as a Jedi.
Oh yeah.
This is awesome. Then teddy bears, and then the teddy bears winning. I was
They
just
didn't win. See, that's the thing. That's what made the Battle of Endor fantastic. Is that it's the progression of battle. See, it's okay. The teddy bears show up. Holy shit, we have reinforcements. But just because the teddy bears showed up doesn't necessarily mean that they started winning out the get-go. No, teddy bears showed up. They started to throw rocks at things. Well, none of our strategies are working. Shit, we're starting to get our ass kicked again. Hey, how you guys doing up there? We're getting our ass kicked up here too. Where's the main character? Getting beat up by his dad's boss. So it wasn't until Chewbacca and the two other critters commandeered that ATST was there the turning of the battle, and they started to become sort of
went out with giant logs smashing
Yeah.
together. They were throwing rocks at the stormtroopers, and they were like, "No!"
Yeah, right.
but
But see, what made that great is that they're doing all these things, but not a lot of it is working, and that's what made it great. Is that whole battle was to stall because Luke Skywalker's being the hero. That's the whole point of that battle. And if you look at it through that through that lens of, oh shit, it's a trap. Well, shit, the shields are still up. Well, we're all here. We can't retreat. We're fucked. Hey, down there, how you doing? We're fucked. Some teddy bears are here, but they're throwing rocks and shit. It's not really helping. But there's more feet on the ground, I guess. Hey, hero boy, how you?
If you love the movie, awesome. I'm not even going to say anything negative.
So
about
that's how
it.
you.
I just think that
That's how you treat it.
I
And
just
then
didn't
not
enjoy
only
that.
not only that, you get the two teddy bears that get caught in the explosion, and then one gets up and it's like, hey, let's go, buddy. And no, it's a dead Ewok. He's fucking dead. He's like, oh shit, he's mourning for his friend. You don't get that in with Jar Jars or Gungans. You don't give a shit because there's CGI obnoxious rabbit monsters. The Ewoks made you care because there's these cute little tangible things. If you didn't care during that scene, you are the real monster. You are the
I guess I'm
monster.
a monster.
And you didn't feel for anything in that moment. You are the real monster. But
I'll accept that role.
That's
If it were me, it's like, oh god, what? I was one of my favorite movies, Monty Python. Like, I was fine with the end where the cops show up and arrest everybody, but a lot of my English friends thought that they should have stormed the castle and killed all the French people, and they thought that the cops showed up and arresting everybody was the worst part. And I'm just like, yeah, but it's funny. And like they're like, no, they should have killed. See, because in my mind, I need the main characters to survive. Wipe them out. And kill all of the Ewoks. At the end, have the stormtroopers been like doo, 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 on Ewok heads. I hate them so much. But no, that's fine. Whatever.
But
I imagine it's kind of like Jar Jar. Like, I didn't enjoy Jar Jar, but then you look at a kid and they're like, Jar Jar's the best part. He was funny. I do think it's there was I forget what show it was. It might have been The Office.
well, so that's the thing though. The Ewoks were, because remember, Star Wars is for 12-year-olds, and this is when Lucas was like, yeah, it is about 12-year-olds. He wanted to do the Wookiees initially, but he couldn't do the Wookiees, so I was like, here, let's have these cute little teddy bears for the kids. But just because it was that doesn't mean that it was well executed and the music was on point. Like, yo, the Battle of Yavin, of the original trilogy is my favorite song of all of them. Just like in episode 1, the movie doesn't get cool until Darth Maul shows up. Realistically, the rest is just noise and just nonsense and poo-poo jokes. But then Darth Maul shows up and he's like, "Okay, this is why I'm here. Star Wars. Here's where it gets cool."
Back to lightsaber combat.
Yeah.
The best form of lightsaber combat, which I've never seen, and I've often wondered this: why not use shields?
Koitosis shields? That'd be great.
Just no, it doesn't even need to be that, but they can make energy shields in Star Wars.
Yeah.
If I'm fighting with a sword and shield, I'm winning 90% of these fights.
Yeah.
Because a sword and shield trumps 2 swords.
Yeah.
And it also trumps 1 sword. So yeah, either that or like, and then like we got into an argument because Joe and I have been talking lightsabers a lot lately. I think Kylo Ren's sword is actually better. Like it needs a cross guard.
Yeah.
But I guess if you hit just that spot, you could short it out. There needs to be a true cross guard because lightsabers, they're really weird. Like they're not shaped ergonomically. They're fat.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
there's a lot of weird buttons and shit.
Yeah, like
there's just
like they don't look comfortable. Like I just think that would be better if they introduced cross guard. Like you could easily slide your hand down and your hand's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I don't know.
What color's your lightsaber, Frosty? Go.
I mean, if I could have any, it'd be red. I know that makes me evil. So if I can't have red, then I'm gonna go blue.
Go purple. So the purple was like.
I don't really like purple.
Okay, so go blue. I'm green. Go green.
You're green. I can see that. Yeah.
I like green.
But I mean, red's I think the coolest. I actually think, just looks wise, my favorite. Even though he's not my favorite character, Kylo Ren's lightsaber is my favorite. I actually dug the lightsaber whip when she's.
I wish we got to see it more. I thought that.
Yeah,
I thought we would have seen that more.
That is I think it was a Legends book. I did read that one, or at least.
So fellow nerd Adrian has been soaking up all of that material.
Yeah, my issue with Legends though, like, is I probably worded it wrong because I don't like it. It's just Legends is a weird canon because it's like they're like, hey, what if we made them like
superheroes,
insanely powerful? Like when I'm talking to you and you're like, he could just force choke you from any point in the universe, and I'm like, you can? I'm like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose of everything. I mean, like. And then, like, I'm reading Darth Plagueis, and he's like, I'm the Flash now. And I'm like, you are? Like, it turns him into Marvel characters,
right.
You know? It's like...
So...
Oh, okay, I guess.
Inconsistent.
Well, yeah, it's a different canon, though.
Right.
But why do we accept it? Again, it's like certain people accept it in certain things.
So, you know what it is? It's the sacred timeline. There's no... sacred timeline in Star Wars anymore.
I mentioned to you because we were talking about super killers. I said, whatever you do, don't ever mention Bay's Transformers around.
Oh God,
around Cap. Because I said this. It's like, why are we cool with it sometimes and other times not? And he goes, feel, and he said because like Optimus Prime feels like Optimus Prime, and I was like, not really. Like I don't think so. And I was like, definitely don't mention this around Cap. And then he thought it was funny because it was like I mentioned it like it was like your nom. Like,
Bumblebee, what are you doing? What is this?
I do think it is interesting because like, okay, so my version of that is Masters of the Universe, the live action movie, because little Frosty so excited to go see a live action Transformers. I mean, He-Man movie,
right?
And then I got whatever that was. So it was so far removed.
In my head, it's that Krusty the Clown. What the hell was that?
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Then like for the other stuff, I don't know. And it's like Constantine.
Yeah,
I struggle with Constantine because he was Constantine in name only.
Yeah,
there's nothing like Constantine.
Right.
But then you talk to people and they're like, I fucking loved Constantine. And then they loved it so much they're like, I don't know if it's still happening, but they were gonna make a sequel to it. And I'm like, I don't know. I was kind of like, you know what? All right, you do you. If you enjoy that Constantine, enjoy the shit out of it. I mean, if I if I pretend I'm not watching Constantine,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm okay with it all of a sudden. But then I'm okay with, but then I compare that to Loki.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at 3 versions of Loki: Loki comic book Loki,
Mm-hmm.
Loki movie Loki,
Mm-hmm.
and Loki as from
TV show.
the pros from the sagas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all very different Lokis.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, I'm cool with all 3.
Yeah. It's like having
Same with
different
Thor.
versions of Batman. Everybody has, or like the Joker. Everybody has favorite versions of the Joker. It's like it's his
all
favorite
got
character of
started-
anything. It's just how are they being written? How are they being treated? So, God, I can't talk about Deadpool because it would spoil things. Deadpool does a great job at passively handling everything I feel everybody's upset about in its own.
Daniel Radcliffe show up as a Wolverine.
Do you want me to spoil it?
Well, just that one.
No.
'Cause that was the theory.
So
I
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, but that's the fun part, I think, is because like we had all these theories on WandaVision, keep bringing that up, and like half of our theory, well, I would say like 90% of our theories weren't accurate.
So walking
Like
in,
it's Mephisto,
right?
And that became like a running joke, or like it's all Mephisto. Am I Mephisto? I don't know. Like
So because I listened to the Rabble,
yeah.
there is apparently I'm sure there's going to be a director's cut. This movie is a movie that needs a director's cut. I want to see all the footage that they shot. I want to see all of it because I bet they just had let's film a bunch of nonsense and see what we can have fun with. And just I can see the same scene being shot 50 different ways and each one is probably perfect. And but for different reasons. So what Deadpool 3 does, it God, see, I can't spoil it. I can't say what I want to say because it'll spoil
I'll try
it.
and
So.
see it so we can discuss it.
Yeah, I guess.
All right. Well, we need to wrap up.
Yeah,
It's
I need a
1:30
pee.
already.
Anyways,
I got medication
so
to take.
to end my rant, I give the prequel. It's still a shut up and take my money, but it comes with a little disclaimer. There's a lot of things to like about the prequel. There really is. Just if you apply the prequel lens, it feels like somebody wrote a prequel. And it checks every box that the prequel did. The same prequel that I saw 7 times in the movie theaters. It felt reminiscent of a prequel. So familiar but different, right? That's what I keep saying. It felt familiar. It did a great job world building. The first 2 episodes, I admitted a few months ago when we started talking about it. Shut up and take my money. It does a great job at world building, and I don't think a lot of people give it credit for that, and that kind of sucks. But it's still a shut up and take my money in its totality. It is, but it's under the caveat of I'm grading it under the spectrum of the prequels. Now we like to end the show.
I did not like the prequels. There are parts I like, but I didn't like them.
Right. But see...
But I really, really, really enjoyed The Acolyte. That's one of my... I'd compare it... I would say I'd put it alongside The Mandalorian. It's up there. It's probably my second
it felt
favorite.
like somebody did a better job at telling a prequel. But
I guess
anyways.
so far back, I didn't even think of it as a prequel, even though technically it is.
Yeah, so...
You know what I mean? It's kind of like House of Dragons is technically a prequel to Game of Thrones, but... It's so far back in time that you're just kind of like...
Well, so here's the reason why I'm framing it as the prequel to a prequel is because Leslie Headland also obviously came in. She did a really good job at setting the tone of the universe, and I credited it initially for that, where we got to see the Nemoidians depicted and how that sort of sets seeds to how they could eventually feel a certain way, in the actual prequels. So... Yeah, we said enough. Let's end the show. I need to pee. For everybody who sat through till the end, and my 5-minute rant on a prequel of a prequel, C-3PO is 112 years old. End the show. Like, comment, subscribe.
So next week we've got Terminator versus who was it?
Rogue.
Rogue.
Yes.
So tune in for that. We're also going to be taking a look at anger management. So make sure you watch that and join us for the discussion.
Ooh,
tell us what you thought of Blade Runner 2049. and let us know your thoughts on everything discussed. Also, I'll talk to Super Killers. He's going to be coming on at some point. We're here next week, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, then do all the like, comment, subscribe. We're going to be updating some of our overlays and things like that.
Yes.
As soon as I get some time, I will. I've actually started doing some of it. So, but it's stupid Elden Ring. Ooh, EDF 6 is out. God, I want it, but I don't have the money for it. Tell me if it's any good. Oh my God, I love EDF. I love EDF. I love EDF. I love EDF. I stupidly bought the stupid DLC for Elden Ring instead of EDF, and I didn't know it was coming out. I would have spent my money there. Anyway,
sing us out with a nerdy quote, Frosty. Then go play Elden Ring.
The welfare of my people is ever the closest to my heart. What a pity I am so often forced to save you from yourselves. That is why my invincible robot army stands guard both day and night.
Good night, everybody.